Hello, and welcome to the Dad Lab Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Matt.
And I'm Andrew.
And on today's show, we're back from a long break, and we've got items in the news desk about aggressive turkeys, quarantine fight clubs, and playground sex dolls. In our Mount Rushmore segment, we discuss our dream cars, and in our Pick Your Poison segment, we've got a interesting choice to make. We're going to talk a little Thanksgiving, since it's right around the corner. And we've got a movie review of the Nicolas Cage and
Sean
Connery classic, The Rock. And we're going to recap some sports. We're recording on a Sunday evening, so we're fresh off a Cowboys win.
Disappointing win.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, what the hell were they thinking?
And then we'll end it out with some NBA draft talk and such. So if you could, please rate and review us on iTunes and Apple Podcasts. That would really help us out. Tell a friend, share the show, force people to listen, or, just whatever you got to do to help us grow. We appreciate it.
Yeah, and don't listen to the first episode. Just gloss over that one. Tell people to start right at number 2.
Or just go to the latest one.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Follow us on social media at thedadlabpod on Twitter and Instagram. Or you can send us an email with any comments or concerns or questions at thedadlabpod@gmail.com. So what have you been up to, man? It's been too long.
It's been like almost 3 weeks, I think. But I don't know, there's not a whole lot going on. My life's not that exhilarating or exciting. But in the last few days, let's see, I watched Chinatown for the first time. I've never watched that movie because Roman Polanski directed it, and he's a pedophile. But I was listening to a podcast, and they kept talking about how there was this podcast based on it. So anyways, long story short, I was finally like, I've never seen that, and I rented it, and that's probably one of the best movies I've ever seen.
Really?
So I watched Chinatown last night. It was fucking awesome. I asked for it for Christmas. And then we went to my parents today. My dad was going to make a pot roast, which sounded great, but he wanted to smoke it. He got a new pellet grill, and he wanted to smoke it, and he got it on like 8:45. We got there. We had to wait. Finally pulled it out, cut into it. It was bloody, so he threw it in the oven. He wrapped it up and everything, but it must have like taken all the flavor and juice out of it because that thing was like eating a fucking boot. And the first bite I took, I'm trying to chew it, and he's sitting to the left of me, and it's just not good. So I grabbed my napkin, and I go to put the bite in there, and right then he goes, "How's that first bite?" I said, "Oh fuck,
great, Dad."
and my mom saved me. She's like, "Was there a little fat on there?" I was like, "Yeah, there was some fat on that piece." He's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "We'll try the next one." I'm just taking bites and chewing it down as much as I can before I just down it with some water and just swallow it. But Mom made mashed potatoes. Dad saved it. I ate some mashed potatoes. And then the dogs are just eating that dried pot roast right now.
Well, with the pellet grills or any really smoker, there is a little learning curve. And with any grill, gas, charcoal, it doesn't matter. There is a learning curve until you kind of get to know your grill, where the hot spots are or whatever. We did the same thing a few years back. My brother got a pellet grill, and my dad bought like $180 prime rib roast.
Oh, wow. I thought you were going to talk the grill was that much.
No.
The roast was that much.
No.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's prime rib, and it was like it was prime cut. So it was same thing. Like we put it on, and we're trying to learn the grill, and we can't get the temperature right. And it was the same deal. Like we put it on, it was supposed to be done at one time, and it was like 2 or 3 hours later, and it was finally done. But any time you get a new grill like that, there's always that learning curve for the first 5-6 cooks. You know?
This was his test run. That's why he wanted us over. And
right.
And he ran out of pellets, so he had to get it going again. But I mean, it was all good because after that we played that. I showed you that picture of that Wahoo board we played, and that was his from childhood. Like if you flip it over, it's a chessboard, and there's stuff on there he wrote from literally the 60s and 70s.
That's awesome.
So it's just him and his sister wrote some stuff on there. But we're playing Wahoo, and I've never played before. I don't think I've ever played before.
Wahoo's great.
Yeah, and then they just asked if we wanted to play before we left, and we were getting into it, man. Like talking
yeah.
shit, like when you can knock them out. Like they were getting mad because I would take my marble and aggressively knock theirs off the board. Like I was talking so much shit. But so was my dad. My dad ended up winning, but we were like, dude, I just want a Wahoo board for Christmas. Like,
Wahoo's great. Like it'd be great at like the draft weekend.
Yeah.
Like
I would absolutely play. Like
it's a great game.
Get 3 boards going so we can have the whole league playing at once and do like a bracket style championship.
No,
like, Wahoo's
it's great.
awesome.
Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Yeah, so that was my last 24 hours, which was no complaints.
That's not bad. Lately, I've been taking in some Texas high school playoff football. My brother is the offensive coordinator, and my nephew, his son, is the backup quarterback up in Paris for Paris High School. So last week they played in Dallas. They played Dallas Lincoln, and they won by like 30. So my nephew got to play the whole second half.
Yeah.
So that was cool. But they were up by so much, and it was
just handing the ball off.
It was, and he attempted one pass and he got sacked. But yeah, they were just up by so much.
That's the classy thing to do, though.
Yeah.
If you're up, just run the clock out. That's a dick move to just run the clock up like that, because those are kids at that point.
And there was an obvious, gap in talent. Like it was real apparent. The kids they had were good, but their sideline maybe had 10 subs.
Oh wow!
And like our sideline was full of subs.
Yeah, those guys are gassed probably.
So, and then this last week we drove up to Paris. For some, they had a home game. So the way it goes is like 2 head coaches, they get together, they try to settle on a neutral site, or they try to settle on a site, and if they can't, it goes to a coin flip. Well, they played Midlothian Heritage, which is right down the road, and Heritage wanted it first in Midlothian, and obviously the other team was like, no way. And so he was trying to get it as close to Midlothian as he could. Couldn't come to an agreement, so went to a coin flip, and he lost the coin flip. So they ended up having to go to their house in a playoff game. It was a great game. It was back in the first half. They were trading touchdowns back and forth. And they're just, I've been to NFL games, college games, and still nothing beats high school football in Texas. Just the atmosphere, especially kind of smaller town football, high school football, you can't beat it. They're 4A, which is, if you're not in Texas, 4A, we go all the way up to 6A, so it's the 3rd classification down. And it was awesome. I mean, the cheers, it was back and forth. I saw a kid make probably one of the best football plays I've ever seen in my entire life. So the other team threw a pass into the end zone, and it got tipped, and he sprinted to the corner of the end zone, and as he's falling down, he kind of scoops it right before it hits the ground, drags his toes, and gets an interception to kind of seal it. And then they drove down and kicked a field goal to put him up 10 with like a minute left.
Oh wow, that was
it was in the late
game-changing
play. It was late in the game, and it was just one of the most incredible plays I've ever seen. And it was like a 16-year-old kid who did it. So
that's when college scouts will get that video.
Yeah, so it was a good game. So the last couple Fridays I've been going to see my brother and coach and my nephew play.
What grade's your nephew in?
He's a sophomore.
So is he going to be like, he's just waiting in the wings?
The starter, who's a pretty good little athlete, is a junior.
So he might be compete next year, but hopefully get it senior year.
I think because their goal is to get him into college. So I don't even know if they're going to stick around this school. I think they're going to try to find a situation where he can go in and play and get 2 years of film out. So I doubt they're going to go back to Paris. So I mean, my brother's got a resume where he could go. He could go to a lot of places. I don't know if I told you, but he was a quarterbacks coach in Allen.
Mm-hmm. For Kyler?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
And then he went and he was an AD and a head coach up by Sherman at a small school, and then he's the OC at Paris now. So he's got a little. He could
just be looking for the right opportunity for him and his son.
For his son, really, because he told me once his son is these next 2 years, once he's out, he's out. Because it's just it's too much of a time commitment. Like I was talking to my sister-in-law, his wife, and she's like, I literally haven't seen him since July.
Shit.
So, and it's such a huge commitment. I mean, those guys work. in 100-hour weeks during the season, and he just wants to. He's got a younger daughter. He's got one in college, and then my nephew, and then he's still got a younger daughter who's probably 12, and he just wants to spend time with the family.
Yeah, I understand
So, but no, it's been good. So I'm going up there.
Well, I'm rooting for Paris Tech to take that 4A title.
Yeah, we're going next Friday. They're playing at A&M Commerce, so they're playing at
the alma mater.
At my alma mater. So that'll be cool. They've got a tough game against Melissa, who's 11-1, and but they've got a good team. The kids are just scrappy. It's a young team. They've got a lot of juniors and sophomores. So we'll see what happens. But it's been fun going and taking trips up with Landry's loving it. Lauren's even getting into it. My wife does not like football, and even she's getting into it. So
she just wants both teams to have a good time.
Yeah,
That's how my wife is.
Yeah.
She roots for whoever has the nicest uniform, so she likes Miami Dolphins and the San Diego Chargers.
Fair enough.
And she just wants no one to get hurt and for them to all be friends at the end of the game.
What a sweetheart.
That's all she wants.
But yeah, so I've been taking in some high school football, and it's been cool.
We'll
see my brother.
Talk about that road trip for the championship, because at AT&T, I'm pretty sure those tickets are like dirt cheap.
Yeah.
At least compared to, even a college game, but definitely compared to a Cowboy game.
What sucks is I was going to holler at you because
holler at me.
The original plan was to play at AT&T on Friday, but apparently it was too expensive because I think both schools have to agree to like chip in. And
that's bullshit.
Yeah.
They're not using it. Just fucking let them use it, Jerry.
So I don't know how it works, but no, my brother texted me. He's like, yeah, apparently AT&T was too expensive. And so they settled on A&M Commerce for the neutral site. So
no offense, but that's a terrible compromise. Hey, we're going to the 8th wonder of the world. Never mind. We're going to A&M Commerce. Which, no offense to them. I haven't seen their stadium, but it ain't like AT&T.
It's not bad, but there's high school stadiums that are better.
Right, Allen for one.
Yeah, so no, it's been cool. Other than that, just work and. If life has been getting in the way, I think the last time we recorded was 3 weeks ago.
I saw it was November 6th. If we're going by that, so we did one more after Halloween, right?
Yeah,
it would have been.
Yeah, so Halloween. Life has just been getting in the way, so we apologize for that, and we're going to try to get back on track here. Just a few kind of programming notes. We're going to change up the format of our movie watch and review. Not really the format, but basically how we pick the movies. So we can get you guys involved if you want to watch and kind of participate and send in some feedback and stuff before we do the next pod. So we're going to be drawing. We've picked out 4 movies each. We're going to draw them out of a hat. We're going to announce it on this episode, either before or after we do the review on The Rock, and that way you guys can have time to watch it and you guys can participate. And then we're going to do that for this one, and we're going to put that on pause. Now hang with me, because for the month of December, we've picked 4 Christmas movies to do during the month of December so we can get in the Christmas spirit. We've decided on Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, the Santa Claus. And Sinbad. Can't forget him. Santa Claus with Tim Allen. Christmas Vacation, which is my personal favorite, and then Andrew's personal favorite, Die Hard. So we've got our kind of December planned out, and then January we'll pick back up with drawn it out of a hat. So if you guys will kind of want to go ahead and get a head start on those movies, and that way you can participate and send in any feedback or questions or comments, you guys can do that. But with that, let's get into the news desk. And our first story is about an aggressive turkey. I'm reading this from NPR, and the headline reads, "The reign of Gerald, an aggressive turkey is over."
I love his name's Gerald.
For 5 months, the bird evaded captors while attacking humans. A wildlife expert disguised herself as one of his preferred victims, an older woman, and Gerald took the bait, charged, and was captured. So we kind of talked last episode about what you would rather face, birds or dogs.
That's a bird of prey, man.
That's a bird that's on the ground, and turkeys just scare me, dude.
They have no fear. They're like the badgers of. They just don't give a shit.
No, like I've got 3 chickens, and like sometimes those chickens try to step to me, and I'm like, I will put you in that grill.
Yeah, just kick them right into the corner.
Like, I will put you on the grill. Like, and I always talk shit to them because sometimes they get lazy on laying eggs. And, like, I'm out there cooking. I'm like, you see this? If y'all don't start picking it up, you're ending up here, buddy. So, but could you imagine, like, a turkey terrorizing an entire town?
I like how he had a preferred victim, too. Like, they used her as
He had a type.
Yeah, right?
He had a type. He's like a serial killer.
That was my favorite part.
But it continues. Estimated to be around 20 pounds, Gerald had been causing problems in the Grand Lake neighborhood for months, attacking dozens of people and ultimately leading to the closure of nearby Morecambe Rose Garden, an 8-acre municipal garden that was his favorite stomping grounds. Rebecca Dimitrick, a wildlife expert and founder of Wildlife Emergency Service based in the Monterey Bay area, was hired to humanely capture Gerald after many unsuccessful attempts. So yeah, they got a ravenous turkey off the streets, and we are all safer.
Just in time for Thanksgiving.
And I said on this story, I found it back in October, like late October, and I was like, I got to do it close to Thanksgiving. But yeah, she was throwing blueberries at him.
Do turkeys like blueberries?
Apparently.
I know beagles do.
Beagles?
You know, Fantastic Mr. Fox. That's how he tricked him. He goes, trust me, beagles love blueberries. Ever since then, I just tell everybody that, yeah, beagles love blueberries.
So, yeah, they relocated him. Gerald, he's living on a farm somewhere.
Probably raising hell on that farm.
Yeah.
What a fucking
probably
legend.
Raising hell. But have you had any nuisance animals? Like, have you had a problem?
We had an asshole cat growing up.
Dude,
Jake.
I've got a possum living under the house.
Oh, dude.
Dude, and me and this dude locked eyes one night, and it was terrifying. Like, I know they're not aggressive, and like they're actually like really clean. Like they don't carry.
They're blind too.
Yeah, they don't.
That's why they come out at night.
Yeah, they don't carry like diseases, or there's like one disease they definitely don't carry. But he keeps like getting in our trash, because we set it out, the night before. It's supposed to go out, and like I'll be leaving for work in the morning, and he'll be like, there'll be dog food cans that he's pulled out. Like, I don't want to be mean, but like, dude, stop digging through the fucking trash. Like,
hey,
there's bird feed out in the back for the chickens. Like, just munch on that, dude. Like, why do you have to be a dick? Because now I got to clean it. I got to go back inside, get another bag, clean it up, because I don't want to be a dick and, leave it for the trash man. Not that they would pick it up, and I don't.
They wouldn't pick it up. They would definitely leave it for you.
I don't want to have trash in the yard, but yeah, I've got a dick possum that's living under the house right now.
Dick possum.
That may be a show title name, Dick Possum. So you got the next story, right?
I got the next story.
All right, and this
it's
one
not nearly as well. It's pretty good, but I don't know, Gerald. This one came with pictures too. I wish we could upload these pictures.
I will. I'll put them on the Instagram because you got to see them.
Malakuta College investigated after totally unacceptable sex doll incident on Muck Up Day, which I think that's the day where they just do a bunch of bullshit.
I think this is in time. Australia, and I think I equated
Australian rules.
I think I equated it to like our field day, maybe like a field day.
In Florida, apparently.
It's in Florida.
No, I'm saying, but this is Australia is the Florida of
the world.
Of the world, yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
So this is for kids that are like from pre-K to like 12th grade. And it's located about 600 kilometers east of Melbourne. So, I don't know, what is that like?
I don't know.
We don't use the metric system.
If it's not an American, I don't know it.
Damn right. The town became best known for its apocalyptic fire images during last summer's. That's not important. This is at the school's Muck-Up Day on November 6th. It is alleged that a student brought the female sex doll to the school. The school was the primary and secondary students from ages 5 to 18. So little 5-year-olds out here. We got that several teachers, including the principal, were seen by many primary school students as young as 5 with a doll during the school's 55-minute lunch break. Which 55-minute lunch break? That's amazing,
dude. We got like 12 in high school.
Yeah, I remember half of that was in the line.
Yeah, I remember scarfing
and you get it
food down,
burning hot because I would get those ole burritos.
Yeah,
and I'd be like, how you try to eat with your mouth open because it's so hot.
You're burning the roof of your mouth.
Burning your mouth just so you can run to class after that.
Then everything tastes like rubber for a week because you burnt your mouth.
So, the sources say the blow-up female doll had visible genitals and was tied to a pole during lunch break and had water and ice thrown on it. The sources said students and at least one teacher rode on top of the sex doll down a children's slide, and the female and a female name was given to the doll. A picture of school principal Tom Cashmore close to the doll with young primary school children nearby was posted on social media but was later taken down.
Can you see the picture of the principal right now?
Yeah, I'm looking at him.
Okay.
Suspenders and all.
He looks just like that mayor of Toronto. I think his name was like Tom Ford
The one
or
that did
something.
all the crack.
Yeah, he looks just like that guy.
He does.
So go figure.
There's a look. A parent who did not want to be named told ABC that their young child had described the naked female doll to them in detail, saying the doll had a lot of holes and lipstick.
That's right.
The parents said they were aghast and disgusted by the use of a sex doll in front of young children. Well, yeah, I would be too. Another parent said their primary school child told a teacher on the day that they needed to put clothes on the doll before the prep students saw it. So now they're launching an investigation. Student parents were alerted to the muck-up day school activities 5 days later when a letter signed by both Mr. Cashmore, who's the principal, and the school council president, Danny Morris, was sent out. It is understood the department received at least 15 complaints from unhappy parents demanding answers. On Monday, staff were told by senior departmental staff an inquiry was being held into the matter by a law firm and that Mr. Cashmore was taking leave. External acting principal David Mowbray has been appointed to take over, which, I mean, as long as you don't bring a sex doll on there, I think you can keep your job for a little bit.
You're doing better than the last
Yeah,
guy.
immediately doing better.
So what's the worst part? That the sex doll showed up, or that the principal's like writing it down,
if this
down
was
the
like,
slide?
Like if this was like an all boys school, you know, because they'll just do stupid shit. I think the fact that there was little kids there, because you can see in one of the pictures, the principal's like grinning from ear to ear. It looks like he's going to mount the damn thing, and you can see a line of kids like in a line, like waiting to go get like a snack break, you know, invisible, and you're like, okay, those kids look like they're about a couple years older than my kid, and you got this is the principal. This is supposed to be like the most respectable man on campus, and he looks like he's about ready to...
It was his sex doll, let's be honest.
Right?
He's blamed it on a kid, but this is his sex doll.
And they gave it a name.
He gave it a name because it already had a name.
He probably brought everything you would have needed, so... Yeah, it was all bad, but the fact that it was the principal that probably... like you said, it probably was his, and he had to have been the one that was, like, leading the charge. That to me is the worst part. And it's like, I don't care how good you were. You just don't do that shit, man.
He's just cutting loose, dude. He's
hey, you can cut loose.
He's bringing his friend. He's bringing his friend to work, and
Nobody
they're gonna
wants
have a
to
good
see
time.
Your friend.
It's all crusty.
Gross.
Ugh.
You keep going because there's a resolution.
Is there?
No, there's not.
Okay.
It's still under investigation for being a creep. Basically, don't be a creep in front of kids. The moral of that story.
Keep your sex dolls at home, people.
Yeah.
All right, so the last story we have.
Be classy.
Headline reads, Rumble in the Bronx, Fight Club drew 200.
Oh.
Sheriff shuts it down.
Shout out Jackie Chan.
More than 200 people, and this is from the New York Times by Jan Ransom. More than 200 people stood shoulder to shoulder shouting as two men sparred at the center of a Bronx warehouse. Some people hung over the barricades. Social media showed craning their necks for a better view. When one man knocked out the other, the crowd erupted in a thunderous roar. The amateur fight would have been illegal before the pandemic, but with coronavirus cases spiking in the city, it risked being a dangerous underground event. Sheriff's deputies broke up the unlicensed fight club known as Rumble in the Bronx around 11:15 Saturday. Many of those crowding inside were drinking, smoking hookah, and not wearing masks, the authorities said, because that's the important part. The leader of the club, Michael J. Roman, 32, and 9 others were arrested and charged with unlawful assembly, health and alcohol code violations, and participating in a prohibited combative sport. They were also each fined $15,000. So yeah, they obviously broke some rules of Fight Club.
Yeah, the
first
first
one.
and second.
Yeah, the most important ones.
Basically, the only rules of Fight Club. That and like, don't kill a guy.
It continues. Hours before breaking up the Fight Club, sheriff's deputies have also disbanded a party in Brooklyn with nearly 200 guests and another in Manhattan with over 200 people. Let's see. Yep, that's about it.
I mean, the way I see it, I think they're just letting out frustration, and I think it's funny because it's like they're gonna arrest these guys, and they're like, "Hey, what are you in here for? Starting a fight club? Well, we're in jail. You want to start a fight club? It's like it's just gonna like breed more members, and it's gonna like spread from there.
So yeah, apparently on that same night, like there was like they busted about 600 people at 3 different events.
Damn.
Yeah. So New York's got a problem.
That was probably that had to been like a sting operation. You know, you just don't find 3 fight clubs in one night. Like
they weren't all fight clubs. Like 2 of them, the other 2 were just random gatherings and parties.
Oh.
But this one was definitely a fight club. But yeah, I mean, I think people are just, especially in New York, you know, where they're us here in Texas, we're not locked down at all. But you know, I think New York and California, they're pretty locked down. I think that's just a product of frustration.
Yeah.
That's just people
to beat someone up and
they just don't want to be in the house. You know, they're tired of being cooped up.
Just speaks to that movie. Like, how cool is that 20 plus years later, like people are still inspired. I guess inspired is not the right word, but you know, living that movie out.
That, and you know, I'm sure there was money to be made that night.
Oh, dude, somebody's always plays. There's a bookie there for sure.
Yeah. So
there's some big undefeated motherfucker just taking people's money.
Those 200 need to take their time out and go watch Fight Club, because if so, they wouldn't have got caught.
Yep, they would learn the
Tyler
first 2
Durden
rules.
is very disappointed. And with that, we are going to move on to our Mount Rushmore. And like I mentioned in the opening, our Mount Rushmore this week is our dream cars. And I think there's going to be quite a bit of difference between mine and yours. Mine is going to be very import based. Yeah.
I'm more Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
And you're the Paul Walker
I've got
of the
some.
group.
I've got some in here. Mine's a mix a little bit, but it's going to be very like Japanese inspired.
And I think we'll find too, they just don't make cars like they used to.
No, they really don't.
Like the average year of mine is probably like 1986. The newest one is an honorable mention, and it's 2004. Oldest one goes all the way back to 69. Nice. But yeah, the average year for here is probably in the 80s.
My newest one's 2001.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to let you go first, and we can alternate.
Alternate?
Yeah.
First one for me, this is one me and my dad would like dream about. It's the 1972 Plymouth Roadrunner.
Yep.
They don't even make them anymore. I found one pretty much stock with about 350 horsepower. They all had like, and all these cars, all these muscle cars that you look at, they just had the sweetest paint jobs on them too. Like they came stock with like
good
just
paint.
The beautiful paint job with like striping down the side. Just so fucking cool. And I was looking on here, and for $35,000, we can get a 1972 Plymouth Roadrunner.
I think we can pull that together, me and you.
I would.
Not an issue. No, the Roadrunner was the one with the big wing in the back, right? Yeah, like the big real tall wing.
With the sweet ass like icon that they would put on the side that actually was a Roadrunner, like
with the wheel spinning,
picking up dirt, and wheel spinning.
My favorite Roadrunner is a couple years before that. My favorite is a 68 or 69 Roadrunner. They weren't as long. They were a little bit shorter, a little bit boxier, and they had the dual headlights in the front. But that's my dad's kind of not dream car, but that's up there for him. And I grew up around hot rods and classics. My dad, he's got a 65 Galaxy right now, and he's got a 63 Ford Falcon. So I grew up around classic cars. So, and back in the day, he had a 65 Mustang with a 289 in it, and he had it all. He had a cam in it and headers, and he had it all.
Damn.
Yeah, it's set up
to
all
that
drag.
just for investment purposes, like.
Yeah. So no, but the Roadrunners, it's iconic. It's sweet. So, and mine kind of are in order. I mean, and my first one is my all-time dream car.
Oh, yeah.
And when you hear some of these, like, you're gonna be like, what? But my first one is Acura Integra Type R. I know what you're thinking. Like, you see bragged out Integras all over the place.
Yeah, they were real. I remember like everybody fucking wanted Integra.
Well, my first car was a '95 Integra, but it was a sedan and it was an automatic, so it wasn't cool. But the Type R was widely considered like the best sports car of the '90s in Japan and over here, just for the handling.
Yeah.
I should say the best front wheel drive sports car. The U.S. version had the iconic like front end with I call them the bug eyes, or not bug eyes, but it's like the 4 headlights. They got 2 on each side. But the Type R, you can find them now. Like I saw one on eBay. It had maybe 5,000 miles on it. It sold for like 86 grand.
Golly. That's almost brand new, though. Really, it only had 5,000 miles on it.
But it was built different. It had the legendary B18 C5 motor in it. It had a thinner windshield. It had like dual welded like shock towers in the front and the back, so the handling had double wishbone suspension.
You know way more about cars than I do.
It's just a sweet car.
I just thought what looked cool.
No, it's a sweet car. It's an iconic car, like in that scene. You can't find them hardly anymore. It revved up to like 8,600 on the tachometer. I mean, you could just rev the shit out of that car, and it just wanted to be revved. It would just go. And I loved it. I still love it to this day. So if I ever hit the lottery, I'd be buying a Tegra Type R. And I had some stuff pulled up on it, but I'm not gonna make everybody's eyes glaze over. But no, it's a great car. It's a cool car. It only came in 3 colors. It came in yellow, white, and black. So
what did you get?
Not yellow. Probably white.
Yeah, I was gonna say just not yellow for me.
Probably white. Yeah, they're sweet cars, and I'm gonna I'll find pictures of yours, and I'll put up mine on our Instagram, and then, if you guys want to get involved and send us your favorite dream or your dream cars, please do. What's your second one?
Second one for me, and again, you're way more into cars than me, so mine's a 1984 Ferrari Testarossa, yeah. Gran Turismo.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked that because when I was a kid, I had like a Matchbox car of it.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really fucking cool.
Well, that was like one of the first.
Reasoning.
That was like one of the first cars that like ever got put up on a poster, and like everybody had that Testarossa poster like in their rooms as a kid.
Yeah, I like that.
It's got the little vents on the side.
See, I call them gills. I'm not a car guy.
Hey, I knew what you're talking about though.
And it seems like they always came in red. Was that like the stock color, like a Ferrari?
It's just
red?
an iconic Ferrari. Yeah, it's just an iconic.
Like
color.
I was having this argument with myself as if I'm some rich asshole's like, you know what? Fuck Lamborghini. I'm a Ferrari guy.
Yeah.
I've always liked Ferraris more than Lamborghinis. Like as if I had the money to like really decide like which one I wanted, and I decided I'm a Ferrari guy.
Right.
I always have been ever since I got that Matchbox car.
That's an iconic car. I mean, that would easily fit on anybody. You could find that on a lot of people's
like 80s. Yeah, those 80s Ferraris were pretty awesome because I went on their website and they actually had going in chronological order of their years with all their models, and so I was like going through again like I'm some rich asshole buying a car, and I'm like, that's it, that's the one I wanted, that's the one that looked like my car growing up. 1984.
It's sweet. My second one is a Nissan Skyline GTR R34.
So specific.
It again, like as far as like JDM cars or Japanese cars, it's the holy grail. It's the Ford Mustang. It's the Roadrunner. It's got a twin turbo. It's all wheel drive.
Oh, there you go. I like those like Subarus back in the day they had turbocharged engine, were all wheel drive. So,
yeah.
Or all wheel drive. So I know a lot of people. That to me is just like a double check mark, And
that's going back to the Integra Type R. Like, it was a front wheel drive car, and it would hang with like Subarus who were turboed, and the Type R, the Integra Type R wasn't. It was naturally aspirated, so it was no turbo, no supercharger, no nothing, and it would hang. Like there's a famous track in Germany called the Nürburgring, and that's like that's where they test. That's like if you can make it at the Nürburgring, like if you can set a fast lap, like that is like a big deal in the car world. So the Type R was hanging with like all-wheel drive Subarus, Skylines. So that's another reason for me why it was just such a cool car. But yeah, the Skyline GTR R34. If you know imports or if you're into Japanese cars, y'all know the car. They haven't made it over to America yet because there's a 25-year import. You have to wait 25 years before Japanese cars that were made in Japan.
It's a weird kind of rule.
Yeah, I don't know, before they can get imported over here. So it's got a couple more years left. But it's an iconic car, and I love it. I think Paul Walker drove one in one of the Fast and Furious movies.
Not one of the newer ones, though.
No,
not that one. I know that.
Nope. Had to bring that up. It may have been the second or third.
Sorry if my joke went up in smoke. Oh, sorry. All right, no more
at
Paul
work-
Walker jokes.
Hey, at work when at the restaurant, like when somebody wanted something well done,
Oh no, I can already know where this is going.
I would put because you can ring it in and then you can like add like you can add like special instructions to it, and so I would be like Paul Walker. And so the first time in the kitchen they didn't know, they're like, "What is this?" I'm like, "Paul Walker. He burned alive. He's extra crispy." And they were like, "Oh my god!"
Like,
and
geez,
then
man, that was so dark.
and then it caught on. Like, hey, that cheeseburger, no onion. Yeah, that's Paul Walker. So no, not darken. That's not dark.
Okay,
Rest in peace,
good.
Paul Walker. But what's your third one?
Another icon, 1994 Ford Aerostar.
Ford Aerostar.
Dude, we took so many good road trips in that car. I have nothing but fond memories of that. And looking it up, and that's totally obtainable. And we could go right now and drive to like a national park in that thing. When I was like 5 years old, we took the longest road trip of my life and went up to New Hampshire to meet my mom's aunt and uncle that we've only met obviously one time because they lived in New Hampshire and they ain't shit to do in New Hampshire. But it was a cool trip. Apparently, I was bitching before we even got to Dallas about like I'm ready to just be there, and are we there yet?
Just hold on, buddy. You haven't seen.
Yeah, my
yet.
dad was like, we weren't even out of Dallas County yet, and you're already bitching about how you want to be there. But I remember we went to Washington after that, like Washington D.C. We just hit up like all these cool spots on the way back. Like we went to Graceland.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm associating these good times with this car, but to me, it's just a classic car.
That's
like
what it's about.
I could just throw the whole family in there, literally just throw them in there, shut the door, look like a kidnapping going on. But now we could do it with like electronics. Like when I did it with my sister, because it was just me and my older sister, like that was like a true road trip where you just had to buy like some cheap ass games and like a card, like a deck of cards and a game of Uno, to drive all the way up there. But yeah, man, ours was I think ours was red. I can ask my parents, but we had that thing for a good 10 years. So many good memories of the Aerostar.
But that's what
we should bring it back.
That's what's great about cars, though, and obviously none of my cars or your cars, or besides this one, because I've never been in them. But like some cars, you just have an attraction to because like your friend had one. Or
yeah, I have another one on my list that was the first time I saw it because I was almost like old enough to drive, and I was like, "That's the car I want."
Yeah.
Like, so that to me, like, even though it's easily obtainable, that was my dream car for like a period when I was like 14 or 15. Like that was what I wanted.
Yeah, and
I was dead set on getting it, and it was obtainable. I would have, it would have been difficult for me to get it, but it wasn't like a Ferrari.
Yeah, and it's kind of like music. Like you associate some cars with, like where you were or like trips you took, like you just said. So
great times in that
that's
car.
what's cool. And for me, like iconic vans, like that one, and then like
The
a Chevy Astro van.
Yep. See, to me, those are on a level together, but we just had the Ford Aerostar, so that's why to me it's that one. But yeah, I would take that, and I would. We're planning. I'll just. Not a spoiler because none of y'all are coming. We're thinking about taking a trip next year where we're going to drive through West Texas and a little bit New Mexico up to Arizona and hit up Grand Canyon and then Zion and Utah, South Utah, and then come back through New Mexico. And there's another state park. It'd be national parks. So we'd hit up 3 national parks in like a total of like almost 40 hours driving. But we were talking about taking like a whole week off. I was like, man, and I could just load up in this Aerostar and hit the road, pop in some cassettes.
Put a cassette in,
yeah, because I got a sweet cassette collection. I was like, and me and Claire were like, let's just do it.
See, speaking of Fords, my dad had an old Ford Taurus, and it was red, and he took us to SeaWorld, and it was just him and 3 kids at SeaWorld. Could you imagine taking 3 kids by yourself to SeaWorld?
I wouldn't want to, no.
But he took us to SeaWorld. So until this day, if I ever see one on the road, I'm like, I think it's SeaWorld. Because, like, Dad had a car just like that. And it was a red, it was like the round. It was like probably a 94, 95. It was like the round-bodied Tauruses. But
that, to me, looked like a tortoise shell. That's what I was kind of associated. Tortoise.
So, but no, I have a car that, I associate stuff with. My third one is the only kind of supercar or exotic car to make the list, and it's the Acura NSX. There was three body styles of it. One, the first body style, it had flip up headlights.
Oh, that's cool.
I always
thought that
sweet.
was cool. People look like that's cheesy, but to me, I think that's pretty cool.
What's cheesy is when you put flip up headlights on a Ford Probe, like my mom used to drive.
Put eyelashes around them. That's really fucking cheesy.
But no, it was a mid-engine, 3-liter V6, and it was a Honda, and it was inspired by not IndyCar but F1 designers. So
Nice.
they had a lot of input
So
on this
sleek.
car. It was real sleek.
Yeah.
And then they came out with the second generation, and they took away the flip-up headlights. The body didn't really change much, but the front end kind of changed, and they took away the headlights. And then they just, I think the last one, I think they stopped making them in like 99, and then like in 2018 or 19, they came out with another one, and it looks...
Was that the one that was on like a Super Bowl commercial?
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah,
That
it was
fucking
blue.
sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you know what it reminded me of when you're talking about flip-up lights? You remember back in the day, the seatbelt the automatic seatbelt that would come up?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of. Like, man, I was thinking like, you probably got a couple cars, because those was like 80s and 90s that the flip-up seatbelt. I mean, people got
My
damn
brother
near
had one.
strangled.
My brother, Ben, he had a Mazda 626, and it had the little automatic seat belt, and we called it the pterodactyl because he had a belt that would slip. So you just be randomly driving down the road and be like, you know, like high pitch. Like, I can't do a pterodactyl, but
That was a good
a
try,
lot of
though.
memories in that car. A lot of a lot of hot boxing. We had good memories in that car. Do you have a fourth one?
I do have a fourth one, and it's fucking Gravedigger. Because there are no rules to this list. So I was like, because I was thinking when I was a kid, I was like, dude, Gravedigger was the coolest car growing up. Who wouldn't want to drive Gravedigger? Like, if I dropped off my kid at school, automatically I got the coolest kid in school. So yeah, it's a no doubter. I don't know what year model it is. It's a 1994 Gravedigger.
I don't know. Yeah,
with a
it's
fucking ladder to
Gravedigger.
get up there. Yeah, it's Gravedigger. So just climb up my tire and jump in, because we're going to Chuck E. Cheese after school. So I just
Traffic?
put
Fuck
Gravedigger.
traffic. We're running over traffic.
I see Matt and his little Integra. I'm taking him out. And fucking Gravedigger. Yep, that's it.
All right, so my fourth one, and I had to put a classic in here. Mine is a 1966 Chevy Nova.
Yeah.
Now a lot of people think
Very
of
Vin Diesel of you, by the
the
way.
later Novas, which has got kind of more of like a turtle hole back. These are much smaller and boxier. They have the single headlights in the front. But if you do it right and you set it up right and you put on a nice set of wheels, like American racing wheels with some Mickey Thompson tires, and you get the stance right, you put some air shocks in the back, I mean, that car is it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then just real quick, I'll go through my honorable mention. A 98 Toyota Supra twin turbo. Again, just like the GTR, that's like a holy grail kind of car in that world. A 55 Chevy Bel Air. And then probably the most obtainable one on my list, even though now they've skyrocketed in popularity, which has jacked up the prices on them. I just wrote down 87, but there's multiple years in there. But 87 square body Chevy truck. I
love those Chevy trucks.
Yeah, the square
That's
bodies.
the perfect truck to me. Yeah, my neighbor used to have one right here, but he sold it and he got like a Dodge Dakota. To me, that was such a downgrade for them.
Yeah,
so those are just like to me. That's the classic. That's the perfect truck.
Yeah, so
like it does, and it has to be a short bed. I hate single cab trucks with long beds. To me, that's the ugliest thing in the world when I see that.
So yeah, mine's like I just wrote down 87, but I think they went up to.
It was all 80s. It was pretty much the whole 80s. Was that Chevy truck was perfect.
Yeah.
That could have actually been on mine for my honorable mention.
Yeah, but like I said, like. It's these weird trends in car culture where for years like certain cars get snubbed or they're not viewed as cool, and then all of a sudden they start skyrocketing popularity, and then they become scarce, and then if you do find one, it's either ragged out or it's really nice and it's super
really
expensive.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I just wrote down 87 square body Chevy truck. They're just sweet, and you can do them any way. You can keep them stock and they look sweet, or you can kind of lower them a little bit and put some wheels on it, or you can jack them up. You know, you can lift them and put some all-terrains on there. They look good in any variation.
I would do stock. I would just put like nice tires on them and like classic rims. You know, I wouldn't try to like make them like 20s or whatever. Just whatever size came on them, just keep them shiny. Because to me, like I said, that's like the perfect truck. I love those trucks.
Yeah, so that's probably the most attainable. But yeah, 55 Chevy Bel Air, that's like a classic Chevy. I know probably 57s are the most popular, and they're written about in songs and all that. But 55 Bel Air is probably one of my favorite classic cars. But yeah, so if you guys want to tell us your favorite cars, your dream cars, please do that at thedadlabpod on Instagram and Twitter. And we'd love to hear from you. And with that, we are going to go on to our Pick Your Poison segment. And this week's Pick Your Poison, the question is, would you rather be beautiful or beautiful/handsome but stupid, or intelligent and ugly?
We're saying this as if we're two studs over here.
It's easy for me. I'm ugly and stupid, so let me take.
So it's an upgrade either way.
Let me take a chance at being beautiful and stupid.
Really?
Yeah, make me hot and stupid. Make me hot and stupid. I'm already stupid. I might as well get something out of it. Just make me hot. I can make money.
I was gonna say,
just taking off my shirt.
To me, that's like the new wave of people. Like you're basically just gonna be a TikTok star. You're just gonna be handsome and like shredded and like get all these followers, and you're gonna contribute nothing to the world.
That's fine.
Because I took the other way, and I'm gonna be ugly. I'm gonna be smart as fuck, and I'm gonna have all these sweet inventions and all these cures, and all the ladies are gonna come to me because I'm gonna have all the money.
After they leave my house.
Fair enough.
After they leave my house,
they're gonna tell me how dumb you are, and I'm gonna tell them some brilliant sentence that's just gonna go straight over their heads. And then they're going to call their friends over.
That's fine.
Their friends.
I'll probably dick them down, too, by that point.
Man, you're just such a stud in this situation.
There are no rules. Let me be hot in my mind, dude. Please.
Right. Well, I'm not taking your sloppy second stand. I'm fucking living in New York across the country. And you can
okay,
live in
divide the
California.
country. I'll take the West Coast. You take the East Coast.
Yeah.
You can stay over there with the sweaters and the Uggos. Give me the beaches and the Bimbos.
Beaches and Bimbos. There's a good...
beaches and Bimbos. I'm going to write it down. All right.
I don't know, because I feel like... Because you see guys that are ugly as fuck, and then they got some hot woman, and it's like, okay, how did that happen?
It's usually...
They're rich, and if I was smart enough, I'd be rich enough.
Either they're rich or they're funny. I see a...
I don't know. I know funny guys that aren't getting laid. It's money. Let's not kid ourselves. Girls like a good personality. I'm not going to say that, or I'm not going to say that. And same thing with guys. Like guys like a person with a good personality, but they want that security. They want that money. They want to know they never have to work another day in their life.
Jeff Bezos is example number one. Have you seen his wife?
The one he just divorced and made the richest woman in the world.
No, the one he got with.
She's not even that hot though. If I was the richest man in the world, I wouldn't be sleeping with my wife's friend.
But it's all relative to Jeff Bezos. He kind of had a glow up too, though. Like, do you know what he used to look like
before he went bald? I guess.
Yeah, and like made all.
He's always been like a little.
Now he's like jacked.
Fucker. Really?
Well, yeah. I mean,
I picture him just being like that little. Like, I guess I haven't seen him real recently because I've seen him, but not being jacked. So
no, like, dude, you have the most money in the world. I mean, obviously it's not natural. He's probably on TRT and HGH, but I mean, he's kind of yoked. Not yoked, but he's not skinny. He's not like what you would think Bill Gates would look like. Or Bill Gates. Jeff Bezos.
I was going to say Bill Gates is also rich.
Yeah, but he's not jacked.
No.
Jeff Bezos is kind of jacked. But yes, no, just make me beautiful, man. I'll make some money. I may be dumb.
You'll just be a TikTok star.
I may be dumb, but I'd be like Kelso off of that 70s show.
He was likable, though.
He was likable and pretty.
Yeah.
And just give me that. Like, because I've lived my whole life being dumb and ugly. So I
it sounds like you're having a real moment here. Like, I'm just sick and tired.
I'm putting some stuff out here, man. I haven't been able to get to the therapist lately, so I'm just I'm going through some shit.
And you're being very selfish because you're just trying to get laid. I'm trying to save the world here with my innovation and my genius. I'm trying to help mankind while dicking down every girl on the East Coast.
No, dude, just give me a mansion in Malibu or something, and yeah, I'll just take the women.
Okay.
Speaking of that, because in my whole kind of scenario, I was thinking of like Dan Bilzerian. You know who that is?
I have no idea who that is.
He was a guy who was famous for putting on Instagram like he was always surrounded by women.
Oh, well, that's why I don't get on Instagram.
And I've seen him on other stuff too. And he had a ton of money. And supposedly he was a poker player. And it came out that his dad gave him a bunch of money, but he's broke now. But you'd see him like surrounded by women, and he was driving tanks, and he'd have like pictures with like all these money and guns, but he's broke now.
Sounds like a real douchebag.
He's a huge douche.
Okay.
But he's broke.
I'm glad you were going to be like, that's who I'm going to be.
No, he's getting his comeuppance
he
now.
He sounds like a total piece of shit.
He sunk a bunch of money into a CBD company and he lost like his ass, and now he's like broke.
Well, for a guy who's been working since the day he turned 16, get a fucking job, guy.
He's going to have to
have
now.
no sympathy for me.
He's going to have to. Okay, so again, guys, send in your answer to our Pick Your Poison. Would you rather be hot and stupid or smart and ugly? So send it. Let us know.
We're a good mixture of both. A little ugly, but we're a little dumb. We're a little smart too.
In real life, yeah. No, I'm a little smart, but I am definitely ugly.
I'm glad we're both not like, well, I'm already hot and smart, so that's an easy one. I choose neither. At least we're being real about it. It's like, man, it would be nice to be handsome or to lose like 30 pounds. Like that'd be pretty
I'll look
cool.
in the mirror and I'm like, dude, I thank God that I'm married. Because if I had to date right now, I'd just go get some cats.
I'd have
it'd
cats,
be over.
and I'd have a Pornhub premium account.
Yeah.
And like a big screen TV with like all hooked up to it.
I'd have surround sound, so I'd get. I like the noises sometimes.
I'd have a sponsorship deal with like Vaseline. It's like I'm just glad I'm married too, man, because I'm not the kind of person that's like, let's go out and meet some chicks. Like I have never. That was the first time I've ever said that line in my life. I am not about to go out and talk to strangers. That sounds terrible to me.
No, dude, I really am glad that I'm married. Cause
and we were just talking about. Let me just clarify. After we talked about dicking down women, that was all rhetorical.
Yes,
we were both very happily married.
Yes,
and I would love to change the world, but Claire, you're coming with me to New York.
Yep. So, Lauren, I love you. I'm so glad you married me because I'd be in real trouble.
Yeah, we would probably do this every day because we'd have nothing else to do.
No,
we want to come over and we'll record us playing games, which nothing wrong with that. But man, I'm glad I got a wife and kid.
We'd be on episode 500 by now.
Oh, at least, yeah, because we would have started this a long time ago.
Yep. Okay, so with that, we're gonna move on to a little Thanksgiving talk. So we just kind of want to break down what's on our Thanksgiving plate. Not necessarily the top 4, not necessarily a Mount Rushmore, but Andrew, what's on your Thanksgiving plate? Like, what are the things you have to have?
And I did just limit it to 4, so it doesn't have to be Mount Rushmore, but it is 4 because I'm not gonna tell you everything I like. I wanted to really condense it, and this is everything, right? So this is desserts included. This is I can only get it like you're saying you're at a spread right now, and you can only pick up 4 things. You want me to just go all 4 of mine real quick?
Go. I
would have turkey, fried, and I like the one it's fried like Cajun style, like
okay.
I guess seasoned or baked. What's that word?
Basted
in Cajun. That's fucking good. My mom makes this thing called cheddar potato casserole, which is very American of us. Have you ever had that?
No, it sounds amazing.
Yeah, and she sent me the list of ingredients, so I'm not gonna go through it, but it's basically like hash browns. Like the hash browns you get in a bag, so they're a little diced up. You hold it all together with this is very bad for you, by the way. You hold it all together with sour cream, so you get a shitload of sour cream. Put it all in there. It's holding the potatoes together. Sprinkle in like bags of cheddar cheese, and then on top. Now that I'm saying this out loud, I realize how fat I am.
Keep going.
On top is a layer of crushed cornflakes.
Keep going.
Crunch. And you just sprinkle that on top, and it's a casserole, so you just
You think you're fat. When you said crushed up, in my head, I was like, you could do nacho cheese Doritos.
Yeah, you could mix it up, or you could do potato chips.
You think you're fat. I just took your
And it's not even, it can't be Frosted Flakes. That'd be weird. It's corn flakes, so you don't want to have the sugar taste.
You just want the
that crunch to it, so but it's so good. I'll send you, when my mom's like, what do you want for your birthday? I'm like, just make that. And we just call it hash brown casserole. I was like, just make that.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I want. It's hash browns, sour cream, cheese with cornflakes sprinkled on top.
Okay.
Very American. I love dressing. I've mentioned it before. Like I would specifically ask for that for my birthday meal from like my grandma. So dressing, my great aunt Bobby actually made it the best. Later on, I found out. I thought my grandma made it for years, and then I found out that I've been living a lie, and it's my great aunt that's made it all along.
Your whole childhood.
Yeah, and I was like, wait, what? Nene didn't make this? Like, no, it's always been Bobby. I was like, my life is a fucking lie. Let me go give Aunt Bobby a big kiss. With brown gravy. I like it when they have I like the chunky gravy too. Sometimes you get like I guess they would do like boiled eggs, and they have like the whites of the eggs.
So like giblet gravy.
Yeah.
Like they take the giblets out of the turkey and
Okay, that's what it is. That's fucking delicious. And then for my dessert, pecan pie. I like pecan pie over pumpkin pie. I know how that's probably more seasonal, but I fucking love pecan pie, dude. That's my favorite pie.
Oh, I'll differ on the pies for sure. So mine, turkey, and I'll get to my preparation, how I like it here in a second. Turkey, little ham. We make
turkey and ham. That's 2.
Yeah, I'll go 2 meats.
Okay.
I'll go 2 meats.
Clarifying.
But I'm not sticking to 4.
Okay.
Because I'm fat. We've established this.
This is gonna be Matt's dream plate, so it's unlimited.
We've established this. So turkey, a little bit of ham. We make broccoli rice cheese casserole.
Dude, any casserole, I'm pretty much down.
Broccoli rice cheese casserole. Yams. Get a little yam action. Dressing, obviously. With gravy on top. Mashed potatoes, of course. And then Lauren makes this corn. It's like a corn casserole. It's like a warm corn casserole, but it's got like cream cheese, corn, bacon, and cheddar cheese on top, and she bakes it in the oven, and it's dynamite. It's so good.
I did not see the bacon coming. That's
delicious. It's so good. And then she'll put like half the dish. She'll chop up jalapenos and put jalapenos in there. She'll bake in the oven. And there's other stuff. Green bean casserole I like. And then for my dessert, I'll go sweet potato pie or chocolate pie. I love chocolate pie.
Chocolate meringue.
I could do either or. You could just
that's what we would always have was meringue pie. Chocolate meringue pie.
You could keep the meringue. Lauren does too. She does meringue for everybody, and then I like just straight up chocolate pie.
I have I mean, as long as there's chocolate in there. Who's not kidding? I'm not fucking eat it.
But I'm weird. I don't like pecan or pumpkin really. I mean, I'll eat them.
Those are probably my top 2.
Yeah.
Well, I would say that. I like apple pie, but that would be kind of. It's more holiday themed, so pecan.
I like apple pie too. So, and you've already established. So, are you turkey or ham guy or both?
Growing up, I never gave ham a chance. It seems like I don't know why I wouldn't. Like I didn't even eat ham sandwiches growing up. I guess I just thought it was weird, but I guess later on I found out ham's actually pretty fucking good, especially if it's like the honey glaze, so it's got that sweet to it.
Yeah.
So I like ham, but if we're being really specific here, I'm a turkey guy.
Okay.
Because, and the best part, we got to mention how the best part about all this is the sandwiches for the
days
week
after.
following. Yeah. Or it can literally just be like mustard or Miracle Whip. You don't even have to put cheese on it. Just your one preference of condiment, and just load that fucker down with turkey or ham. So
For sure.
So I'm a big believer in sandwiches post Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I like both. If I had to choose, I'd probably be turkey, and it's because, and that'll segue us into this next kind of question, because in the last 3 years I've started smoking my turkeys.
Mm-hmm.
For years growing up, Mom would put it in the oven. Mom, God rest your soul, I love you, but it was always dry, never very good. Most oven-baked turkeys aren't very good. They're mostly dry.
Yeah, we don't do that.
So, and then several years ago, we started frying turkeys, and I kind of stepped it up a notch. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that's
I see that.
Go. It's just dangerous to me.
I see that. Well, you got to make sure you get that thing completely dry. Like, you have to get it completely dry. There cannot be any frost on it, any moisture, because that's what causes the flare-ups.
Yeah, that's what's asking for a disaster.
Yeah. So, and then
scary.
A few years back when I got my smoker, I smoked a turkey, and really it's like a 2-day process. I think I told you about it when I made Thanksgiving for Lauren's family. So,
saw those pictures.
I brine it for 24 hours, and then I pull it out and I'll inject it with either a Creole butter or like a garlic butter. I'll inject the legs, I'll inject the breast, I'll take the butter and I'll get up under the skin, and then I'll stuff it with apples and onions and celery and carrots and oranges.
Oranges, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, any kind of just fruit, citrus, any kind of fruity flavor, and you mix it with the onions and the celery and the carrots. You stuff the cat. Yeah, you can.
Okay.
And then you stuff the cavity, and then I smoke it at 275, because if you do it any lower, you run the risk of your skin not getting crispy, and you'll get that real rubbery skin. And so just smoke that thing, and when you brine it, that adds moisture and flavor to it. And then when you inject it, because with white meat or any kind of poultry, you want to try to keep as much moisture, get as much moisture into the meat as you can. man, you smoke that thing for a few hours out there, and it melts in your mouth.
Yep.
So after, I'm a smoked turkey guy. So I know you've got plans, but we're doing Thanksgiving just us, and I'll have turkey left over.
I would rather just go to your house. My plans suck.
So after that, I'll never not smoke a turkey ever again.
I've never prepared a turkey. They've always done that shit.
Yeah.
We're bringing mac and cheese and
Ooh, I forgot mac and cheese. Mac and cheese is... See, I'm fat, dude. And I'm hungry. I'm getting hungry. I should have took you off on that pizza
There's
earlier.
more pizza after this if you want it.
So, yeah, that's our Thanksgiving talk for Thanksgiving coming up. Please, guys, get involved. Let us know. Let us know what you like on your plates.
Yeah.
With that, we're going to get into our movie watch and review for this week. Like I mentioned, we watched The Rock in memory of Sir Sean Connery, who passed.
Died like a legend, though, too. Died in his sleep, like in the Bahamas.
Rest in peace, man.
At like 90, like...
Done
There's
it
not
all.
a better way to go. Yeah, he already won like Mr. Universe.
Yeah.
You know, from like the 60s or 50s or whenever. First James Bond. And then he was Indiana Jones's dad. I mean,
Could you imagine the trim that guy pulled throughout the years?
Oh, absolutely. Around the world, too. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't just, like, living in Malibu. Like, he could go anywhere in the world, and they'd be like, you're Sean Connery. Yes, I am. And they take their clothes off.
Unclothed.
Yep. And he just goes... He
Yeah.
goes like that. You can't see what I'm doing. He's just dropping his hand and panties drop.
Yep.
That's
So, yeah,
Connery.
so we watched The Rock with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage, who
And
put
Ed
in...
Harris.
Yeah,
Some
and Ed
respect
Harris.
on that name.
And it was just... I had never seen it, and
Which
they
really
blew your
me
mind.
away, dude.
I didn't want to say that on
You
air.
called me and you're like, hey, I still got like an hour and a half left. I can just come over now and we can bullshit. He's like, but I've never seen it. It's like, you've never seen The Rock. Of course you need to finish it. Like, I watched this movie a dozen times growing up easily on VHS.
It was so
Do
good,
yourself
dude.
a favor and just finish this movie.
I didn't want to put that out on the air, but...
But you never seen it?
But no. And I'm going to blow your mind with some of the movies I haven't seen.
See, I just watched too many. I got literally hundreds of movies in that shed. Like, that's all I did when I got my first job. I worked at the movie theater, and then when I get paid, I would buy movies and, like, CDs and books. I'd go to Hastings. You know what I'm talking about.
I love Hastings.
People who don't know, it's, like, just a superstore of, like, you could rent movies, buy movies.
Books, video games,
Yeah, like, electronic
CDs.
like that. I wasted thousands of dollars.
It was a much more affordable Barnes and Noble.
Oh, yeah, way better.
Much more affordable. They had used books, used CDs.
They had all the, this is random, but I remember they even had like a wrestling section to rent from, and I would go and I'd be like, WrestleMania 17, let's go.
Friday nights decided.
Yeah, like, SummerSlam 92, let's go. I'd just go and watch these random ones. That's where I would rent all my wrestling, and I'd buy like a Limp Bizkit shirt while I was there.
That's right, yeah.
So
yeah.
like 20 years ago, man, I was pretty cringy, but I was living my best life.
That's right, man. So you want to kick us off? So what did you...
recap
I
the
mean,
whole movie?
Obviously, I didn't want to say, what do you think? Because we know what you think. It's a great movie.
At the very end, I got 3 out of 4 stars. I go on a 4-star system.
Dude, there were so many one-liners, and it had everything. It had action. It had...
Good action, too. It wasn't like... It was cheesy at times, but...
It was cheesy at
You can
times.
tell they did, like... They put money into this movie, because, like, when they're under... Like, jumping ahead, way ahead, but when they're, like... It was when the Navy SEALs tried to go in, and they were going in through, like, the bathroom.
Yeah.
And they were sitting ducks, you know, they had them surrounded.
in the
then
showers.
They dropped back down, and they were in the tunnel system. That was all, like... some of that was just, like, production design, you know? Like, they were in, like... They made these sets, and you're just like, dude, they spent money on this movie. And... You know, people give, like, Jerry Bruckheimer a bad time because...
And that was Michael Bay, too, right?
It was Michael Bay and Jerry Bruckheimer. And I was like, those two together, you know, they might make, like, the explosions and everything's, like, just over the top. But, you know, it was a good movie. It had a good story structure. It had good characters. And to me, like, those two guys, you know they're going to, like, spare no expense. For Bruckheimer and Michael Bay. Like, they're known for going, like, over budget and going over the top with their movies. And sometimes they come out shitty. Like, I've never seen any Transformers movies just because, I don't know, I just had a thing against Michael Bay after that. But, you know, he made Bad Boys. Bad Boys is a good fucking action movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, those guys, they know how to make good, enjoyable movies. And that's pretty much what I put on here. I put very first thing because you saw the Hollywood Pictures image. And, like, that, and like back in the day, you're like, you know, it's going to be a good movie when you would see certain productions.
Yeah,
Hollywood Pictures, Jerry Bruckheimer films, It's not the best story and acting, but it's great production and entertainment. And it made over $100 million at the box office. So that was just my initial first thought when I was getting going. And, I knew I was going to be entertained when I saw those two. I was like, even especially in hindsight, because I didn't know when I was a kid, but when you see that combo, you at least know you're going to be entertained for 2 hours.
Yeah.
It's not going to win any awards, but it's a good rewatchable.
But sometimes it's good just to shut off the brain and just be entertained.
And that's what you get with these movies. That's what I'm saying. Like that, those guys, because if you looked at their past movies, you'd be like, they didn't win any awards, but damn, that was a good 2 hours. That was a fun 2 hours.
Well, I liked how Nick Cage kind of played this nervous Nelly, super smart character, which is kind of a break from a lot of characters he's played. I'm thinking of Con Air, Face Off.
Classics, 90s.
But it was just kind of refreshing to see him in a different role.
Yeah.
A smart role, nervous.
Which is a good, role for him to play as an action hero because he's not shredded like Schwarzenegger or all these guys. Because in the 80s, when you think of action movie stars, you think of, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, those guys that were, ripped, and that's your action hero. And then in the 90s, it was no, it's more like Ed Harris or Nicolas Cage.
And then with his character in Nick Cage's, was it Good Night? Was it Good Night?
Pretty sure it was Good Night.
Or Goodfellow?
I think it was Good Night.
Anyway, his character, it was more brain. Goodspeed.
That was it.
Yeah, Goodspeed. Because they were to have the conversation about Godspeed.
Yeah, that was the origin of his name.
Yeah, it was more brains over brawn, which was cool. But then he still found, it was this whole thing, he was pushing himself, and he was telling it. He would tell himself he couldn't do it, and then he pushed himself to to chase him down or to get the guts up to do this or do that. So that was a cool character. You don't get a lot of character development in movies just because the time, but he did have some character development.
Yeah, he grew some big balls by the end of the movie, and even at one point where he's talking to the FBI guy, he's like, "I need a gun." Where's your other, where's your gun? He's like, oh, I left it at the house. I never need it. They're like, just give him a gun. It just shows he's not the kind of guy that's always, licensed to kill.
Bang, bang.
Bond reference, he's not like James Bond where he's out here just fucking women and
he's
killing
a scientist.
Guys. Yeah, he's on the bomb squad. He's a man he has a chemical engineering degree. That's what he is. He was just thrust into this position. So that was cool. And the fact that he needed, he was basically relying on, once they made it to the Rock, he was basically doing whatever Sean Connery.
And he kept Sean Connery.
That was his name.
Yeah,
Mason.
Nick Mason. Yeah, he kept him. He kept him going. He was gonna leave. Once everybody got massacred, he was like, "Nah, I'm out of here."
Yeah, he was about to get out of there.
No, it was really good. In the scene at the hotel where he makes his first escape attempt.
That was a badass escape.
When he shakes the FBI director's hand.
First of all, Nick Mason's the drummer of Pink Floyd, brother. That's why I was like, I don't think that was his name. Nick Mason's drummer.
His name was Nick Mason?
It was Mason. I don't think it was Nick Mason. That'd be a weird coincidence. Anyways, Ronnie said that. I was like, that's the drummer for Floyd, right?
Dude, I'm gonna ramble on. You look it up. Look up his character in that movie for The Rock. Yeah.
All right.
But when he shook the FBI director's hand, slipped the rope over it,
and before, because they have this ongoing beef, because why he was locked up for 30 years, he basically figured out all of our dirty secrets. What's that at Area 51? Who killed Kennedy?
And it's all on a microfilm.
Yeah, he had a microfilm, and this guy, the FBI director that he basically traps, that's why he was that's why he did it before, because he was going to reveal all these secrets. So I'm just telling you, that's why he's not just being a dick and about to throw the FBI guy.
Right, no. Yeah.
He screwed him over and sat in jail for 30 years.
Yeah. And there was some pretty cool camera work, when he had the barber's cape on, and they shot in between his legs underneath the cape, and you could see him getting the rope ready. Mm-hmm. But anyway, he shakes his hand, and he puts the rope on him, and he throws him over the rail. His arm would have just ripped off.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, dude.
His shoulder, he would have detached his shoulder, and he would have just fallen.
He would have just ripped his arm off.
And he's like, "Oh, let me up." And it's like, no, dude, you at least separated shoulder, ligament damage,
and you'd be passed out from pain
if your arm didn't rip off.
Because that guy's probably a smooth 220. And the weight of that, being flung off a building and held on by your wrist and snapping. Yeah, dude, he would have ripped his arm off.
I didn't think about that, but you're 100% right.
No, and then we get a cool, straight out of the Remember the old arcade game, Cruising USA? We get that car, the chase scene.
That really was like inspired by Cruising.
It really was,
on the
dude.
Streets of San
San
Francisco.
Francisco.
That's when you go over the hill and you double tap the gas
and you
boost it.
Yeah, and you jump. What was his name?
John Patrick Mason.
John Patrick.
So shout out
Mason.
to Nick Mason though, great drummer.
Damn. Anyway, dude, I'm taking L's all over this podcast. But no, that was a cool scene. And then we get the Marines involved.
And also, I just want to say that Alcatraz is such an awesome setting, and the fact that it's like in the backdrop of San Francisco, that's going to be the target. We'll find out later on, but just how cool is it that a movie is going to take place on the rock like that in Alcatraz?
Yeah, and we find out that he's the only person, and that's why he gets involved.
Yeah, that's why he
gets involved
because they're like, no one's ever escaped. He's like, well, there is one.
Yep, one guy did.
He's been in a cage for 30 years.
Yeah, so no, it just had everything.
That's what I'm saying. It really did. It had the ingredients of a great action movie.
Ed Harris, we find out that he's the antagonist. He's upset that basically, I mean, it's kind of some real life shit, that the government uses the Marines. They use people up for their bidding, and then they kind of just throw them away when they're not needed.
No recognition. He was like, my guys didn't even get like a military funeral, like they were like wiped off the books. Their family got nothing. And you're listening to this, you're like, yeah, fuck that, man. Like that is messed up.
Yeah.
I started to get Stockholm syndrome like halfway through the movie. I was like, this guy's right. He got treated very wrongly.
So, and that's kind of his motivation. He wants $100 million, and he's going to pay.
It was $1 million to each of his fellow.
It was like 80 something, or
it came up to like 80 million would be allotted to like the
families,
and then the rest they would have taken the rest for the crew that did his job.
Yeah, so
which again is very honorable because the majority of it's going to pay the dead people or their families.
So, and that's kind of the plot of the whole movie, and then
and you should say they stole this chemical warfare. It was called VX.
Yeah, VX gas,
which was fucking lethal, man. That one guy at
that
the beginning
first
make
scene,
it out,
yeah.
You just see like this green pod and it breaks. Because I watched that when I was like 10 years old, and I was like, oh my god, his face just melted.
That was
off.
some cool like prosthetic and like effects work for the time. Like that guy's face like bubbled up and like oozed and exploded.
Yeah, that's not CGI, like you said. That's all prosthetics and makeup.
Yeah,
that was fucking cool and terrifying.
But yeah, so Ed Harris's character's got all these rockets strapped with this VX gas.
They were saying like 1 teaspoon would like take out a city block, and they got each pod's like the size. It looks like a
smaller, golf ball.
Yeah, like a little bit bigger than a golf ball. And they're like lined in this canister. It's probably like a couple dozen per.
Yeah.
So they got so basically they got enough to take out all of San Francisco.
Yeah. And that's how Nick Cage gets roped into it. He was getting it in, and they ruined that.
Oh, after he found out
when he got the phone call,
he's going to be a dad.
Yeah.
He's like, this cannot. He's inside of his wife going, this cannot be happening.
And there was a lot of cool like moments of him acting like that. It was just Nick Cage was great. Yeah, no, Nick Cage was great.
Nick Cage is great.
Is great. But in true fashion, good guys win in the end. Nick Cage turns into a total badass.
Yep.
I don't know. I just thought it was good, and I'm glad we picked this one. Because what would have been our other Sean Connery tribute movie to watch?
We could have done
some Bond
or like the third Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Where because he's the dad. Fuck, I don't know. Probably that.
Those. Yeah. No, but it was good. I'm glad you picked that one because, like I said, I'd never seen it and it was really good.
I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it. That's why we're not going to go
over it too much. We're not going to.
To me, it was just reliving a classic, No,
it was very good. Had shoot 'em up scenes.
Yeah, and at the end where where Ed Harris, they basically called his bluff. Like, he was like, I'm going to shoot if you don't, you got 48 hours, and then time runs out, and there's these 2 rogue soldiers with them, and they're, like, just ready to commit mass murder. And he's like, they called their bluff, or they called our bluff, and that's it. We're leaving. Well, then it turns into I think what they call is a Mexican shootout,
Mexican standoff,
where it's like Reservoir Dogs, and everyone's pointing their guns at each other. And so that's how Ed Harris finally gets it. R.I.P. But I just thought that was cool too. That Reservoir Dogs shootout.
And then a couple more scenes I want to talk about is they kind of start softening Mason's character early on because he goes to meet up with his daughter.
Yeah.
Like, that's where he runs from. The hotel, too, is like his daughter.
That was the whole thing, just to go see his daughter and
Yeah.
talk to her.
Which they never state, but that was his daughter. I mean, they give us enough kind of context there that was his daughter. And then at the end, when everything's over and Nick Cage is talking to the FBI director, like, what happened to Mason? And he's like,
Died in the blast.
He was vaporized.
Yeah, because that's how, like, they were gonna, they finally said, like, we're just gonna, and they had hostages, the bad guys in there, like, we're just gonna have to level the Rock, which, level Alcatraz, and they were sending, like, a friggin' bomb squad of
F-15s.
F-15 fighters, yeah. And after Nick Cage had the cool, he made that one guy that looked like a Wii character with that jaw we were talking about.
Yeah.
He made him eat one of those pods.
Yeah.
You see him, like, start to disintegrate and die. And then he gets out there, he ejects himself with
atrophy, or, atropine?
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
Whatever that's supposed to, like, counterbalance this. And then he gets on there, is that iconic picture of him, like, waving the
flares.
And they pull up. And that's why he was like, so they pulled up, but they dropped one.
They dropped one
of the bombs, and that's why he was like, it got Mason. He's gone. And that was, like, basically him paying him back because Mason saved his ass many times.
Yeah.
Nick Cage wouldn't have made it in that movie if he didn't have, now I'm just going to call him Nick Mason, but John Patrick Mason, Connery. So he was like, yeah, he was leveled. He was vaporized.
But he's letting him go live his life because they... As soon as Mason agreed to help him, because they offered him a pardon.
Yeah, they were like, "We'll pardon you. You walk out the door right now."
And then
he signed it, and then they just ripped it up.
As soon as he walked out of the room, they ripped it up, and
they knew he was going to go straight back to jail. Like Cage knew that.
Yeah, well, Cage saw him rip it up, and so he told him later on in the movie, "Hey, they ripped up your pardon," and so that was his gift to. That was his gift to Mason, to let him go and let him go live his life.
But Mason paid him back too. When he was like, he gives him like this random instruction. He's like, this one specific, church, second row, under the bench, and they're
first
off, they just
outside leg, yeah.
And he's like, hey, honey, you want to find out who killed Kennedy? And they're driving away. So it's like,
that's how the movie.
This film, it's like he's got all the secrets.
He's got all the secrets.
And I put on here, man. Wouldn't this movie make a sweet fucking prequel
to National Treasure?
No, like a prequel to The Rock, because we could learn about Ed Harris's squad and how they got fucked over.
Yeah, that would be cool.
A prequel of just Connery's character, like doing these sweet ass missions. There's so many.
Because he's an old SAS agent.
Yeah,
like
they
a
made
badass.
it seem like he was a badass back in the day, and they gave all these people such cool backstories. I was like, I would love to know more about this backstory, like how he came in possession of all this. And I just wrote on here, I think it would be great for the prequel because you could have to be like a whole franchise because you could do a prequel on like all of them.
Yeah.
And you could do a sequel where they go to, I don't even know, another popular person like Sing Sing or what's it called, Folsom.
Yeah. I mean, I was about to say it'd be cool to see what Sean Connery's character's doing, but that'd be a little tough.
Too soon, bro.
It's been a couple weeks. We're okay. We can do that. Okay, so that was The Rock.
Highly recommended. I had to pay for it though.
So did I.
Oh no, I didn't. It was on Hulu.
It was on Hulu. Yeah,
it was Hulu ad free.
It was on Hulu. So with that, we are going to draw out of the hat for our movie watch and review next week.
That way, if anyone's interested that listens, they could watch it and agree or disagree with us.
Yeah, and y'all can send in feedback or questions or comments. So, do you want to do it?
You go for it. Me.
All right, here we go.
Sweaty old hat.
Here we go.
Let's see.
And
we can just keep this in here too, so we can just get to it one day. What is it?
Jerry Maguire.
Oh, nice.
Jerry Maguire. I think that was probably like 95.
I think it was 96, actually. But I remember that because I remember watching that with my parents, and they hadn't watched it before. And when he was banging out his fiance, my parents freaked out because I was not even 10 yet. And I remember my parents were just like, go to your room right now. And I'm like, what is going on?
What did I do?
Yeah, like, what did I do? Like, get out of here, go. Fine, I'll go look at Dad's Playboys. I don't give a shit.
It was titties, right?
I think you saw like a side boob, but he was banging her out pretty hard. He threw her up against a wall.
Oh, yeah.
And they were just really going at it.
So it's got Tom Cruise, Renee Zellweger,
Cuba Gooding Jr.
Cuba Gooding Jr.
won an Oscar.
Jay Moore.
Yeah, he's an asshole now.
Jay Moore.
What's his name from Scream 2? O'Donnell.
Jerry O'Donnell.
Jerry
yeah.
O'Donnell.
He's a player.
He's the number
one.
Going to be number
quarterback.
One pick. Yep.
Yeah. So no, I'm excited. I've seen it a bunch of times. Show me the money.
I remember one line that I always remember when he writes his manifesto or whatever to get out, and the guy at the coffee machine, he's like, "That's how you become famous, man. You hang your nuts out there."
Yeah.
So I was always like, "Yeah, it is kind of true. You got to take a risk."
There's some good lines.
That was the point he was trying to make.
No,
basically.
there's some good. Show me the money. You complete me.
Oh, those are all. You had me at hello.
Yeah.
Those are all just iconic lines that people still say today. And if you say it and you're at least like our age, like you know what they're talking about. If someone says, if they looked at you and got all sad and said, "You had me at hello," you'd be like, "I know what you're talking about."
I remember the kid. He's like the human head, weighs 8 pounds.
Yep.
The little adorable kid.
With I remember he had a reference. Jerry did in that conversation. I think he had a Troy Aikman reference.
Yeah.
He was like, "Did you know the human brain?" He's like, "Did you know Troy Aikman?" Blah blah blah.
3 for what? Yeah. No, it's a good story, so I'm excited. So we'll watch that next.
And
week.
I love Cameron Crowe movies.
Yeah, it's very good.
I think he's one of the best writer directors, at least for a while. I think he made a movie like Aloha that wasn't that good, but up until like Almost Famous, because I think he made Elizabethtown wasn't that great, but there was a run there where Cameron Crowe was like one of my favorites.
No, he made some good ones.
So I'm stoked that it's a Cameron Crowe movie, and then I've always liked Tom Cruise. I understand he's kind of crazy when it comes to Scientology, but to me and I was gonna suggest it for our Mount Rushmore, but almost like a box office draw, like who's your top? Because like Quentin Tarantino, when he makes a new movie, or Scorsese, like I usually go and see it. But for a lot of people, like Tom Cruise is still like one of those classic box office draws. And
he was so good in his younger, like Days of Thunder, Top Gun, which
I like his newer movies.
I can't wait for Top Gun 2 to come out.
What's it called? Edge of Tomorrow. I love that movie. That's a solid movie. I like his Mission Impossible.
I thought he was great in Mission.
I love
Mission Impossible.
Like I've seen them all. Like I had the Nintendo 64 game. I've always liked them. So I had no problem watching a good. I got that DVD somewhere, dude. I just gotta find it.
All right, so we've got our next movie set. Jerry Maguire. Guys, get it, watch it, interact with us, and get involved.
And we'll try not to yell "Show me the money" like more than once. That would be fucking annoying.
I'm gonna blast it, dude.
I know.
Claire's gonna open the door and be like, "What the fuck is going on in here?" All right, with that, let's get into a little bit of sports. We had the NBA draft this week. Anthony Edwards went from Georgia, guard from Georgia, being compared to Dwayne Wade by several people. He went number 1 overall.
I got no problem with that. I mean, they already got a big man. They already got Cat, so it makes sense to just get like a good. And he's more of a shooter, so he's not a point guard. He's more of a creator, so get you a guy. Because they traded for Wiggins. When they got Wiggins, and it was like he's just like a better version of Andrew Wiggins.
Mm-hmm.
So I have no problem with that. I understand that pick completely.
And then who went 2?
Why did we not write this down?
I don't know. I know LaMelo Ball went 3.
Went 3, yeah.
I can't. Let
me pull this up real quick because we do not.
Admittedly, I don't. Basketball is not my strong suit, but I can't believe he fell to 3. And because I was reading something earlier on saying that he was consensus, several months ago. But,
I've always heard he's the best of the. And his brother, I believe, Lonzo went number 2.
Yeah,
so he's the best. The fact that he did fall to 3, and he forfeited his year of eligibility for college. And
he went to play in Australia. Yeah.
So I like when people do that because I like the fact that they show that they can play with these grown ass men. Like, of course, it's not coming up immediately. So just keep on talking.
Great radio. Mavs ended up getting, I don't know the dude's name, but everybody.
Second sucks. He literally didn't write anything down for this.
Dude, I can see.
What were we doing?
I can see the listeners dropping off right now. I think based on the Twitter reaction, like everybody was good with it. Like we needed defensive help. We needed defensive help, and
I've heard he was the best. Wiseman, duh. The guy we talked about.
Yeah.
Who went to Warriors, and I hate to sound like an asshole, but thank God Klay Thompson went down because they're already so good, and they just would have gotten so much better. Like obviously, I don't want anything bad happening to Klay Thompson, but they were just so loaded. Wiseman, now they're getting a guy that was about 7 foot with probably a 7'8" wingspan to just guard the paint and just bang in the paint while these shooters just light it up.
Yeah. So, but I forget the kid Dallas drafted, but
Josh Green.
something
It was
green. Yeah.
And they took him because he was like an A+ athlete. They said he was probably the best athlete in the draft, and we just have a problem defending these guards like late in games with under 5 minutes left. We would either lose leads or we would get completely out of contention in games because we couldn't stop these guys.
And they were saying this will take some of the responsibility off of Luka.
Oh yeah.
Luka won't have to do all that. And then I saw that Willie Cauley-Stein re-upped.
Oh, with us?
Yep.
I got no problem with that. I liked him.
Yeah, he re-upped.
Probably cheap too, because I know we didn't have much money, and we have a the veterans minimum and a mid-level exception. So they were saying we could make a few moves, but you'd have to be really
I think they're gonna
clever with it.
I think they're gonna to steal a Jerry Jones term. They're gonna keep their powder dry for 2021.
2021 is gonna be
and go after Giannis or whoever else they want to.
And I just want to say, Knicks got Obi Toppin, who we talked about in episode 1 about being a potential top 3 pick, and he's from Brooklyn. So how cool is that? And then they gutted their roster. They cleared out about $40 million in space. Of course, they're the Knicks, so they didn't really get anybody in return. But they could also just be building up for next year, like you said.
Yep.
So Obi Toppin, who I think, if we're talking about buying cards, I'm probably going to get a couple of these Obi Toppins because that guy playing in New York, where the spotlight's on you even bigger. Because I do still consider that to be the mecca of basketball. It doesn't get any better than that. There was a Jalen Smith taken by the Suns at 10.
Hopefully he plays defense better.
Has to.
And then
we did make a trade that night. We traded Seth Curry,
Josh
Richardson, but a lot of people were okay with that because we have a lot of good shooters, and we were I think we were the highest rated offense in NBA history last year.
Yeah,
which is awesome. But you see what it only got us the number 6 seed and out in round 1. So we're not losing our offensive identity, but we're adding a great defensive player. So the way they looked at it is we got 3 great defenders that night that can obviously, Richardson can obviously play pro ball, and they're saying, he'll be your starter 2 guard more than likely. So, and Seth was coming off the bench. So when you look at it that way, he traded a bench player for a starter, but Seth Curry is a great shooter. And did you know he's married to Doc Rivers' daughter? So now his new coach is his father-in-law.
Austin Rivers just signed, where did he sign at today? Boston, maybe?
I've never been a big fan of his. I don't think he's that great.
He went to Boston. Speaking of Boston, Gordon Hayward got out.
Opted out of 30. How cocky are you to opt out of a $34 million deal?
After you've missed, he missed 212 games over the last 3 years.
I would have thought dude, you should opt out only to re-sign at a discount but I know that's not going to happen. Or
just take your money because you may not ever get it again.
But he did get a 4-year 120, so he's making less annually. But he made 90 plus $86 million over the next 4 years plus. So
right.
I mean,
he went to Charlotte, didn't he?
Yeah, he went to Charlotte. Which Charlotte ain't gonna do shit. They just have, teams have to spend they have to spend up to I think 90% of the cap. So it's they just had to.
There's a floor.
Money. They had to get somebody. Charlotte ain't gonna do shit. Let's see who Charlotte Bobcats took. But, there was a lot of good players in that draft because they would be and at number 12, they had this Halliburton out of Iowa State. They were a lot of people thought he might be the best prospect in the draft. And what killed me is right before we picked, the Timberwolves got oh shit! And then they traded that to the Thunder. Those cocksuckers.
What was he? The Serbian
Scorpion. The only thing though is he's 7 foot, but he weighs less than we do. He weighs under 200 pounds.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, so they're he's obviously going to play overseas. But they're now if he can get on a regiment, if he can bulk up, because they're he's a 7 foot, but he plays point guard. They said he handles the ball, he shoots smooth. He's not going to get in the paint because guys would just bulldoze him. Imagine Anthony Davis backing him down
Zion.
Zion would easily. Zion's got 100 pounds on him of mainly muscle. So they're saying he's going to stay over there. That's why it would have been great for us because it would have been one of those draft and stashes.
It's an investment.
Yeah, which down the road, perfect for the Thunder because they've made more trades since. But at one point they had 17 first-round picks over the next 7 years, and I know they got a few more now, so it might be closer to 20 picks over the next 7 years.
Insane.
And that doesn't mean they're going to use them all. They can
or
package
pan
it.
out. Yeah,
they can package it and be I'll give you 3 number 1s for that guy, and they'd be that sounds amazing. And those could be later picks because in basketball, if you don't have a top 5 pick, why do you even have a pick, you know?
Right.
Because they're so slim, but it's like, yeah, I would totally package 3 number ones and go get you a guy.
Mm-hmm.
So now they just have ammunition. So I love what they're doing there. I love how they're rebuilding.
All right, so
I think what is today? Sorry, but today's
we're not far.
It's a month, right?
Yeah.
They're going to start on December 22nd, so
so training camp should be here now soon.
Yeah, I think they are starting like in
a few days.
Yeah, in a few days. It's going to start up because they do the summer league, which now it's not summer league, but they do all that in Vegas just to get ready. And we're in fantasy basketball. I don't know if you want in, but me and Alex are in our league together. Ryan joined. Ryan got into basketball for once. Paul's in it.
Yeah,
so
I might.
We can kick people out because we got people in this league we don't know, and there's a couple guys I was like, we don't know this guy. He's a douchebag. We just don't have anybody to fill it in. So
I might just give you something to do.
You could easily.
I don't want to talk about fantasy anything right now. Okay. So it's a show divided tonight. I know we don't like to bring up the fantasy, bog down the show with fantasy talk, but me and Andrew are facing each other.
It's a good matchup too. Everyone else is like putting out turds this week. Me and you are like. The final score is going to be like the high 1 teens.
I think it's one. I think you're up 120 to 110 or something, or 117 or 107.
It's like 117, 107, and you still got a running back left to go. So I'm hoping he sprains an ankle, breaks his dick off. I don't care.
You know, at this point this year, it wouldn't surprise me if he like slips in the shower or something.
And only misses 1 week. I'm not wishing like bad harm.
Why not?
I shouldn't have said broke his dick off. No guy wants that.
Why not? He'd join the rest of my team with being out extended time with injury.
Well, you know what? Just save yourself the frustration and just move him to the bench. Just eat that.
You know, I would if like we had it was like an NFL style draft, and I would just tank for the number 1 pick next year. But we don't do it like that, and I'm right on the door. Like I'm not gonna play.
I'm in 6th place. I think you're like an 8th, and we would have the same record. So it comes down to points.
I just need my fucking team to get healthy. If I get one more injury update this year, I'm gonna lose my shit. But I looked like my top four draft picks missed multiple weeks this year, and a lot of it was at the same time. My 4th round draft pick, OBJ, isn't even on the team anymore. My 6th round draft pick, which was Zach Ertz, I did something I never do, and I said I'm going to draft a decent tight end. He's gone. So it's just been a cluster.
Tight ends are so tough, man. I really thought we could move to the extra flex. Tight end's not mandatory.
I might be down for that.
Because you could still play your tight end. You just put them in your flex spot. I've been rocking like so many scrubs this year at tight end. Like there's really like 5 good ones. If you don't get 5 good ones, you're just streaming.
Well, that's what I usually do. I stream tight ends and defense because I don't waste draft picks on them.
Which sometimes that works out. Like I saw you picked up Cleveland this week, and I was watching that at my dad's house, and I was like, look at Carson Wentz with that pick 6. And I looked and was like, God damn it, that's Cleveland's defense, like that son of a bitch. And then I saw they had like 8 sacks and like 2 or 3 turnovers. I was like, oh, motherfucker. His highest scoring was, and I had Deshaun Watson in our other league. Yeah. So every time I'm getting Deshaun Watson updates, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I don't care so much about our other league. I care about the Ziggy league we're in. Yeah. Ziggy Stardust. I was like, that's the league I want to win. But so I was like, I don't give a fuck about this other one.
But that's the thing. Like, Watson, this is the first game he's really had a good output.
Last week was a turn.
Their first 5 games were brutal. They started 0-5. He didn't have D-Hop this year, which I should have took that into consideration when I drafted him.
And those fucking idiots traded away their first round pick for that was in the Tunsil deal.
Mm-hmm.
So they're sitting at 3-7. They're gonna have a terrible record. They might win 5 or 6 games. So that'll probably be like a top 10, maybe top 12 pick. That shit's going straight to Miami. And Miami, they lost today, but I like Miami's future. I think they're doing a great job at building a great foundation.
I think Brian Flores is highly. Oh man, he's not talked about enough.
He's not nearly enough. He should have won Coach of the Year last year for winning. What they win 5 games?
5.
They literally gutted their roster of all their good players. He just took a bunch of scrubs and willed them to 5 wins.
Yeah,
I was like, how is he not even getting consideration for Coach
Tua
of the
this year? Tua kind of looks like he might be the real deal. He had 3 straight wins before today.
I think he's had several games of under 100 yards. He got benched for Fitzpatrick.
When?
This week. Tua got benched for Fitzpatrick.
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, crazy! I didn't see that.
Now Justin Herbert, on the other hand,
he's gonna be a dude.
He has 5 3+ touchdown games, and they say that's already a record for a rookie.
He's going to be a dude.
Didn't even think how pissed Tyrod Taylor is for getting his lung punctured by that doctor team doctor, and he's
Jesus.
like, yeah, now I'll never play again in LA because this kid, which, you know, it would have been inevitable, but I think he would have at least had tape for this year to be like, hey, whoever, you know, Carolina, y'all need a new quarterback?
No,
Look at me.
PJ Tucker from the XFL came in and got a win today.
Did he really?
Yeah, he threw like 2 touchdown passes.
They shut him out, too. They shut out
20-0.
Who was it? Detroit? Yeah, they shut Detroit out.
Yeah, and Detroit plays Houston on Thanksgiving.
What a turd lineup, because we play Washington.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if we win, we'll be in first place at least for until Philly plays?
Jesus, help us.
Because we'd be 4-7. You know, if Philly would win, they would be now, what would they be, 4-5-1 or whatever. So we would at least be in first place for a few days, barring a Philly win.
That's a good segue.
Let's
get into the
so
Cowboy.
Disappointed by that win.
And I texted you this. I was like, it is the most Cowboy. It's so on brand for the Cowboys. They can't even lose when we need them to lose.
Yeah, because like last week, I was thinking that was a great game for us because we played a really good team, but we showed a lot of heart, a lot of determination, but we lost. That's the important thing. We need to lose these games. We're not going to do shit if we could go at best like 6-10, make the playoffs. That'd be a joke.
Well,
and get throttled.
Well, it's the difference in picking in the top 10 and picking 19th.
Yeah, because that's where you would be, right? I think even the worst divisional winner would be, even if you get out round 1, which I think we would be 19th. That'd be huge. Or that would be a huge gap, dude. No, I can't do that. We have to lose.
Because usually it's 21, but they've got extra team from each conference going to the playoffs this year. So I'm glad. Andy Dalton showed on several instances why he's not a starter.
But he also showed why could come in and
he's the best backup.
Yeah, which I'm fine with that. I'm fine with having the best backup in the league, and that's why I thought we had a great situation. You know, they said we went from arguably the best quarterback room to like the worst because we did have Dak, who in my opinion is a top 5. Maybe top 5, definitely a top 10 quarterback. You did have Andy Dalton, who's led teams to the playoffs.
He's got 30,000 career passing yards.
Like that's no joke. And then you did have a good project in Ben DiNucci. So I love that core 3 going in because they could learn from DiNucci. You know, Dalton could just absorb everything he can from Dak and help for when the moment came. Hopefully it would be for like a series or 2 throughout the year, but now we know it's the rest of the year. And I just thought we were in a great situation. And as soon as Dak was banging his ankle on the ground trying to get it back into place, and then you know Dalton gets murdered by Bostic, which we get to have this rematch. And I hope
somebody takes it.
I hope it's Biotish or something, just like grabs him by the face mask and or does something. I'll take the 15 yards, but they have to affirm the point that you just can't fuck with our guys like that. Like that was a dirty fucking hit. None of our guys reacted, and then the NFL just said, yeah, that's cool. You can be fined. What was it, 12,000? It was something like so fucking
12,000. It was 12,000.
That's the equivalent of me punching someone I cannot stand in the face, and they go, that'll be $100. I say, I'll gladly pay you $100.
Right.
12,000 to a millionaire is nothing.
Right.
To
so
knock someone the fuck out.
Cowboys win in Minnesota today, 31-28. Andy Dalton led a game-winning drive with under 2 minutes.
I just want to say before, it was nice to see the halftime score. We held them to 7. That was fucking nice. We won the turnover battle, and I think in the whole game, if not in the first half. We should have had that interception to end the game.
Xavier Woods.
Was that Woods?
Yep.
Damn it. See, because I didn't get to see the first half, so I right when I got in my car, it was Tank and somebody had a strip sack, and I think Wilson recovered it.
Wilson actually, somebody got him by the lower half, and then as he was falling backwards, it was all in one motion. No.
Donovan Wilson?
Donovan Wilson just came and hit his top half, and as he rolled, he just kind of took the ball off of him in one. It was sweet.
Yeah, perfect. So that's what we did. We left my parents' house and I told Claire, I was like, I'm going to listen to this the whole way because I didn't want to have to rewind the game because I have Hulu, and that's a tricky fucking thing to try to I'm going to go back and watch this. Sometimes they'll make you watch uber amount of ads. But anyways, I was like, I'm just going to listen to it so Matt could come over right after the game, because if not, I'd probably still be close to watching it. So I didn't get to, see the CD Lamb catch.
It was
Heard
incredible.
it, and so Claire just went into, we picked up pizza, so at Marco's, and Elizabeth's asleep, and I'm like, when we get down, I do this when I'm watching the game. If Minnesota was at the goal line, and I had Adam Thielen, I just say, throw it to Thielen, throw it to Thielen. When I have Lamb, give it to Lamb, give it to Lamb. And then the way they described it, and I just was so fucking pumped up. obviously I didn't get the grasp of how great that catch was until I had to go and rewatch it, and I was like, yeah, it was a contorted like.
He
body.
threw Andy Dalton threw to the wrong shoulder, and he totally adjusted his entire body.
Will just, have alligator arm and be like, oh, that's gone.
No,
he did his whole body around, and I was like, dude, that guy's so fucking special.
And then he got one up by Thielen.
I think he did. I think that was a better catch.
No, that was a hell of a catch.
That was
one-handed.
Better coverage, because that was good coverage. One-handed to drag the feet. I was like, I put a little cocky text on there. I was like, dude, because I got Lamb and Thielen in our fantasy league, and I was like, my guys are showing off right now.
Yeah, they were.
But then Justin Jefferson, another rookie.
He's going to be good, man.
And he went after Jalen Reagor, didn't he? Philly could have had him.
Yeah, Philly could have had him.
Fourth receiver.
Philly could have had him.
Or no, fifth. Ruggs, Judy,
Lamb,
Reagor. Yeah, he was the fifth receiver taken.
Yep.
And they showed that stat of like of his yards per game. And it was, dude, Beckham's rookie year was on another level. He averaged like 106 yards a game, Beckham did. And then second was Bolden. And then it was Jefferson, and then Moss. And I was like, God damn, look at that company he's in.
Well, he's leading rookies in reception yards, and CeeDee Lamb's leading rookies in receptions. They posted that stat during the game. Wow. So it's going to be between those two.
And then Claypool was in that class.
It's going to be those three for rookie of the year.
Yeah, Burrow went out.
And that was so nasty. Did you see that?
I saw it, but it was real quick, and then the one I watched didn't show another replay. So it just looked like one guy went high, one guy went low.
Yeah, well, the low one is what did it. Like, your knee is not supposed to bend that way.
And I don't want to sound like an asshole, but I was already thinking, like, man, we got to play the Bengals, and now we're probably going to win that game.
Yeah, we are.
Like, I hope Burrow's okay, don't get me wrong, but that was my first thought was, great, now we're going to play
I don't think he is. Like, I think he's done.
For the year or forever?
No, for the year.
Oh, okay. I was like, damn, wasn't that bad, I hope.
No. Yeah, I mean, who knows? But
especially when they're, 2-7-1 now. It's like, hey, let's get the best left tackle in this draft.
Yeah.
Let's get you whatever will help you, which I think it would be a lineman. So, yeah, they'll probably take the first lineman off the board.
Yeah, so.
But it was a fun game to watch because, there was at times where I was like, is this defense actually looking respectable?
And then Donovan Wilson had another forced turnover. He popped Dalvin Cook across the middle.
That was fucking clean.
He cleaned his clock.
You could hear that pop too.
Yeah.
And when you hear a pop like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
So the defense, DeMarcus Lawrence, he was huge in the run game. Aldon Smith had plenty of pressures. But I think it took getting some of those veterans that were probably bad for the locker room. They were bad signings to begin with, and now we're getting to see our young guys play. And I think why not? I mean,
I'd rather have young, hungry players than like guys that are driving their Maseratis home every day.
Reggie Robinson needs to play.
He was out there.
Oh, but see, and I was confused because I was on Twitter before the game, and they listed their inactives, and Reggie Robinson was on there.
Well, there was a DB named Robinson.
28, yeah, I know.
I kept seeing him.
But it was weird because I read the inactives, and Reggie Robinson was on there. But Bradley and I needs to play.
Yeah, has he gotten a snap yet?
I don't think
That's
so.
Weird. Especially when Tristan Hill went down. You would think he would, because that was I remember when we got that pick, because I'm not going to say I follow it all, but they were like, oh yeah, he was like.
We got him in the fifth round.
And he was like a Pac-12 like sack leader and all this.
We got him in like the fifth or sixth round. And
I think it was the fifth.
Kavanaugh was like, I had a second round grade on him.
That's like when you hear about all the stuff he did in college, and yeah, granted, what was it, Utah? But those are, Big 12. I mean, anywhere Pac-12 is still a decent conference.
You're still playing against athletes.
Yeah,
like
you're
USC,
still playing guys
Oregon, UCLA.
And those guys are all getting drafted too. So it's not like he's playing in like some obscure
He's not playing in the Mountain
college.
West. Yeah. So, but all the young guys need to play.
Absolutely. I saw Dorrance Armstrong out there.
Dorrance Armstrong, yep. And then the cat Neville Gallimore from OU, he's playing. He's doing well.
See, and I like seeing that. I wanted to lose this game, but I wanted to barely lose. Like when we got that score in, I was like, great, now Adam Thielen 75-yard touchdown to win the game. That's how I wanted it to end. So I'd get all the points and we would lose, but it would be like a good loss. Like last week was a good loss.
Yeah,
that's what I was trying to explain to Chris.
You wanted to repeat.
Lost, but I was really happy with that loss because I don't want to win games. But I was like, but we showed a lot of fight. That was the first time we showed fight in a long time, and I really think that we're going to win this week too. I think we're going to beat Washington.
No, I don't, because Minnesota didn't have a pass rush. Washington has a pass rush.
Yeah, but
they've killed two quarterbacks this year.
Who else did they kill? Oh, they just took out Burrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so they've got
Andy
a pass
Dalton
rush.
revenge game. Red Rifle's coming.
And I saw Andy Dalton maybe in the second half. He took off running. I was like, I'm really surprised this guy's running ever again.
Hey, man, good
and
for
he
him.
dove head first for a first down.
I'm
like, I'm really surprised he's doing that. But I think we lose this game. I hope we lose this game.
I hope we lose, but I really think we're gonna win. They were saying like the last we're like 8-1 against them on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, it's something we've dominated them.
I feel like this is like, and not to sound like a homer, but this Thanksgiving games are almost like a watching the Cowboys is like a American tradition. So I feel like because Jerry Jones loves to look good on national TV. And this is the one game he's like, we better not fucking lose this game. Like, this is Thanksgiving. The world, or at least the football world in America, is watching us. So if you want to make like $1 bet right now, I think we're going to win. I don't want to, but I think we will.
I don't think we will. I think Alex Smith, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think Alex Smith will pull something out of his ass. I think the pass rush will be too much for this offensive line. The defense.
The pass rush is going to be brutal.
The defense.
I love their front seven.
Yeah.
Their defense is great. That's why I'm still carrying their defense.
Yeah, I saw that.
I need to drop that kicker. That was a stupid. I started the wrong kicker, and I just need to drop his ass. Sorry, get back to fantasy, but it's why it's hard not because like I had these two good defenses. I'm like, I could just play matchups now. Just whoever I feel was going to have the better week. So I say the Cowboys are going to win, but I could easily start their defense because they'll get sacks. And they'll force some turnovers.
Yep. Some other good things from the Cowboy game. Zeke, he looked good. He had
his first 100-yard game.
Yeah, but the line sucked all year. And what?
Tony Pollard busted off a 40-plus yard. Zeke hasn't had a run half that long.
All right,
year.
Come on, pull out your list.
Oh, you want to go through the list?
Let's do this exercise.
Okay, so I wrote down a list of players. And you would trade for the player and the contract because that's to prove that was a terrible move they made.
But we already know that, and it's not Zeke's fault. It's Jerry's fault.
I don't care because I would trade, and then there's certain guys on here I would give that same contract to, but I wouldn't do, 5 years? That was the thing, dude. You could do a 2-year, $30 million. I would do that. I'm not so mad about the money. I'm mad about the length because running backs aren't going to sustain over time like that. So, okay, you want to be the highest paid? Bet. Here's $30 million over 2 years, not 90 over 4 or whatever they did.
Again, not Zeke's fault.
It's not, but
it's Jerry's fault.
Okay, it's Jerry's fault for a lot of things. That's why Jerry makes us drink. That's why we sit here in a lonely room surrounded by Cowboy shit and talk shit about the Cowboys.
All right, good.
So these are running backs that today I think are better than Zeke. You can even take the contract out of it, but to me the contract's a huge fucking deal because he makes way too much money. But just going through. Yes or no question, is this running back better than Zeke right now?
Hit me.
Dalvin Cook. You shouldn't even think about
it.
Yes. You don't think Dalvin Cook's better?
That's what I meant. Like, Zeke's not better. Sorry.
Okay, so just say yes if they're better.
If they're better. Okay.
So that's what Dalvin Cook is a yes, he's better. Alvin Kamara.
Yes.
Derrick Henry.
Yes.
Aaron Jones.
No.
Josh Jacobs.
No.
What? Nick Chubb.
Yes.
James Conner.
No.
James Robinson.
No.
Christian McCaffrey.
Yes.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
No.
Ooh, I'm surprised you said that one. Ronald Jones Jr. or the third.
No.
Joe Mixon.
No.
Kareem Hunt.
No.
Antonio Gibson.
No.
Miles Sanders.
No.
Todd Gurley.
No.
Saquon.
Yes.
Chris Carson.
No.
Mark Ingram.
No.
And Carlos Hyde.
No.
See, I think you're full of shit because Aaron Jones and Josh Jacobs absolutely are better, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. So I would say at least 3 more. And when Mixon's healthy, Mixon's damn good.
Would CEH be better on this team with this line?
Who's that? Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Yeah.
Is that what they call him?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
With this line?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
So we got 1, 2,
Just
3,
so you know, this
4,
is recorded. This
5.
is going out to people.
Oh, you think he's the 6th best running back?
Yeah.
Wow. I don't think he's top 10. And he's paid for number 1. Just remember that. And I know it's not his fault, but at the end of the day, he is taking up a huge chunk of that cap.
I think the money gets you. I think if he was on a rookie deal, he'd be much higher.
Well, yeah, because when Dak was on a rookie deal, everybody loved him.
But we're not talking about money. We're talking about
literally
skill.
Just said it's about money.
For you, it's about money. For me, I'm looking player for player.
No, because players are based on their contracts, and he's not living up to his contract.
No,
it's not his fault that he got paid. I get it
because like one guy on there would live up to this contract. Maybe
No,
2.
Dalvin Cook, Alvin Kamara, Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey. I would pay all those, and Saquon. I would pay all those guys that money. But like I said, I wouldn't do it the years. I would do it salary-wise. I get it. You want $15 million?
Well, good thing for you. After 2021, we can get out of that contract.
How much dead money though?
Not that much.
How much
I don't know. I haven't done the research. That's the theme of this fucking podcast. But
I think I would take Antonio Gibson over him. But again, I guess like you said, we've established money to me because I think that is a terrible contract. I would take Joe Mixon. I think Carlos Hyde looked good against Arizona. He was catching balls and bruising people. That's when I was watching that, I was like, damn, that looked like Zeke from 2 years ago. Oh wait, Carlos Hyde went to the same university and was drafted like way later than him, and now he's just bouncing around teams. But he'll give you production on any given night that you can't get from Zeke. And Zeke's the highest paid running back. Or he might be second now, I think, because McCaffrey got his money. So yeah, to me it does come about money because football is a business. And you have an allotted amount of money to give your best players. And I know it wasn't his fault because he's going to get paid, but he still had, 3 years left of contractual control? And
the fucking Joneses are playing hardball with the wrong fucking player.
They rewarded, that was the worst offseason because they gave Zeke and Jalen money.
I'm more upset about Jalen.
Oh, me too.
I
just don't know enough linebackers to list, but it would be like 50 fucking linebackers.
Yeah, exactly.
Like when they do Pro Football Focus and they're like, he's the 47th out of 49, and I'm like, God damn it. He is making so much money. Like, I don't know, I could hear these plays, like I was listening on the radio and they were like, and there goes Jalen with a busted coverage. And I'm like, yeah, he doesn't make plays, and when he does, like it's more of a group thing when he's in there. It's more like somebody else stopped him and then Jalen comes and wraps him up.
Jalen is very good north and south.
He cannot play sideline to sideline, though, which is what a modern NFL linebacker
But what's
does.
crazy is 2 years ago, before he got the contract, he did. And that's what's crazy. I don't know if that knee is, like, regressing. But
I wish they would be more honest
the year that he earned the contract.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he's been like a 2-time Pro Bowl, which is weird. But that's because his stats, they'll say, oh, he had 10 tackles this game.
Yeah, I don't care.
They were all past
8 yards down the
they
field.
were all after a first down was made. He's not making tackles behind the line of scrimmage. That's what kills me is they're like, he had 12 tackles. None of them were good tackles. 10
of them were 8 yard, 12, 15 yards down the field. Yeah, no, I agree with you there.
So he can create those stats. I get it, but he's not making big plays.
No.
So that I'll never, and I understand. I focus more on the money because it just pisses me off that we gave a collective. We pay both those guys combined $30 million a year, and that money could have been saved. I was like, we could, instead of paying Jalen, we could have paid Byron Jones. Instead of paying Zeke, we could have put that towards Dak. I don't know.
Well, the money's there. The money's there. The money is there for Dak, even with these contracts. But they decided to play hardball with the wrong dude.
Yeah,
you take care of your quarterback.
Everyone knows that. Like, say what you will about Dak, he is a natural-born leader among men. He's a great locker room presence. He can will a team to win, and that's the guy they decided to play hardball with. Like, and then Zeke, who's like, I'm just gonna pull some titties out and I'm gonna have fun. Hey, you want to be the highest paid player at your position in the history of the league? Yeah, cool. That sounds fun. Let me go make some more cereal commercials. It's like, God damn it. Why did y'all cave into that turd? And I don't know. I'm just a hater because I'm pretty sure he's the second highest paid player. And we're in week 10 going to 11. And he just had his first 100-yard rushing game. And
with a decimated line.
Tony Pollard had a 42-yard run on that play.
Okay.
He probably had 4 touches and he had 60 yards.
Yeah. And 40 of those came on one rush.
Yeah, that Zeke hasn't had all year. He hasn't. They said, a 15-yard run. That was his longest run of the year. And then he had another 18-yarder. He's been a bell cow for us, and he can't break off a 20-yard run. Bro, he hasn't had a 20-yard run all year. Look, don't give me those sassy eyes.
Let's move on. Do you have predictions for Thursday's game?
Zeke fucking sucks. That's my prediction. And Lamb catches 12 touchdowns. No, I think. I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just a little excited because I thought Dalton and the line looked decent. I think we only had that I saw, so it was late in the game. We had it was Cam Irvin had one false start. I was like, there wasn't hardly that I saw. There was no holding calls on this line.
Yeah,
I don't remember them. I think they gave up 1 or 2 sacks, but like you said, there was no big pass rush there. But I'm looking at this line. I was like, they did decent. Cooper made big plays. Gallup, you didn't hear much of him. Lamb had great plays. He had that 2-point conversion. So it's like those guys look good. I like that they would work in Pollard. And like I said, this defense at times, I was like, this defense actually looks respectable.
Amari had big plays. They're not going to show up on the stat sheet. He had a bunch of third down. He had a 4th down conversion on the game-winning drive.
He's Mr. Consistent, which I love about him. And he's not going to talk shit.
And he's going to beat coverage. And that's why Andy Dalton is so comfortable, and he looks for him on those key downs.
I think and really, talking about being comfortable, he's comfortable with Cooper, Lamb, and Schultz. He really likes throwing to Schultz. That game-winning touchdown to Schultz.
And a silver lining, when we lost, the tight end, week one. Jarwin.
I love Jarwin, too. I thought he was going to have a breakout year.
I think he was, too. But Schultz has really stepped up his game. He had 2 bad weeks.
For first 2 games, it was just drops leading to interceptions.
He's really stepped up his game, though.
Big time. They were talking about on the fan. I don't know if you listened to it, but they were like, most improved player from offense and defense. And someone was like, it should be Dalton Schultz, because this is, I'm trying to think. I think they said Connor Williams was their most improved. Because, they showed the stats, and they're like, he's only, I think the Pro Football Focus had him rated as the number 4 guard. And they're like, he's only committed 3 or 4 penalties all year. So when they broke it down, because those don't show up on the stat sheet, what you go on is how many sacks has he given up, how many penalties has he committed. So it was like, they made a case, but then I texted in, I said it, Cedric Wilson, guy who barely got on the field last year, and now he's legit number 3 on any other team. He could be a 2 for us. He's a 4. But then somebody's like, another texted and said Dalton Schultz, and I was like, that's a good fucking point. He wasn't even supposed to be. He probably barely made the team. They were thinking, should we go to Blake Bell? And then since then, dude, he's really stepped up. He's made some good catches. He's run good routes. He gets open. I mean, he's a consistent tight end. If I'm Jarwin, I'm glad I got paid.
I started him in our other league a couple weeks ago. He got me 6 points.
He's always available to, it seems like. And it's like we just talked about tight ends being so boom or bust in these leagues. But decent game-winning touchdown, that's a huge confidence booster for him. So I think Dalton Schultz is a solid.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good. I was just going to say he's solid for us.
Yeah, and that was a great play design on that touchdown, because they were so focused on Lamb.
Yeah.
And
I was so focused on Lamb. I wanted that so bad.
And he just kind of snuck across the line of scrimmage and just snuck out and boom, right there.
Kellen Moore called a great game. That 2-point conversion,
that was great.
Was a sweet fucking play.
Yeah, that option.
Because I'm looking at Lamb, I was like, what the fuck is Lamb about to do? And then it's a pitch to Zeke, pitch to Lamb. I was like, dude, that's some playground shit right there.
And they set that up a couple drives before, because they pulled Lamb behind in the backfield and they didn't use them, but they're just setting that up. And I was like, what is Lamb doing back there? And then when I saw that again, I was like, oh, I bet you.
Smart.
Yep. No, it was Kellen Moore.
I've always been a fan of Kellen Moore. A lot of people gave him shit. I've always supported him.
Question. Who do you think is an NFL head coach sooner? Jason Garrett or
whoever you're about to say? Should be Kellen Moore. Because I've seen 10 years of what Garrett does. I'd rather take the unknown. The kid, who seems like he's got a grasp of what he's doing. He seems to call a good game.
I think he'll be
And I've already seen what Garrett does. I don't want Garrett to be I don't even want to be my OC.
I know, but who do you think? I know you would do, but
I would take, because I feel like there's a lot more younger coaches out there. They're going with the young, innovative guys rather than the old guys.
I see Kellen as a college coach.
I could see him going to Boise easy.
Yeah.
Where he was from.
And I think Jim Harbaugh will be back in the NFL next year, because it is not good in Michigan.
Isn't that weird how you can fall upward to you could fail at this? That's like Kingsbury, but he's made it work. He literally just fell upward. He sucked at Tech, and it's like, hey, you want to go to the big leagues now? It's like, sure.
Well, it's just any kind of offensive mind,
Yep.
That's
where the game's going.
That's
why we both wanted Lincoln Riley.
I really wanted,
because if you could get the new, because Sean McVay is what started this craze. They were like, holy shit, look at this guy. He's 30 or whatever, 30 something.
He's my age,
and he's setting the world on. He made the Super Bowl in the second year. So I think though if I was gonna pick a new team, if I was
the
Jets, and I needed a new coach, I would say, I've seen what you can do. You've had some highs, but you've had some lows, and you were never able to take a good team, because the Cowboys always have talent. He had Romo through his prime, and he had early Dak, which Dak was his rookie year, greatest rookie year of all time. So he's had good players all around him, and he could never get past, divisional round.
Yeah.
I would take the unknown. I would take the kid and just see what happens.
Yep. Okay. So you got a prediction for Thursday?
I think we'll win. Shit, if you would have told me we were about to score 30 this post deck, I wouldn't have believed it. So now that I know that's a possibility, I still don't think we're going to do it. I'll say 24-17.
Okay. I'm going to go 17-13 Washington.
That would probably cover the spread though too.
I don't know what it is yet, but yeah. Probably.
No, I bet we. I think it might even be a pick 'em. So I doubt that was. But we covered the spread in the last 2 games, which is great.
And that's how you know it's a shitty year.
Yeah.
Hey, we covered the spread.
Hey, we went the first 7 weeks and we were setting all these terrible records. So the fact that we could just not be historically bad.
Yeah, I think we're gonna break the trajectory of being all-time bad defense. So
the defensive points might still give it up because shit. Because even last week, what was it, 25 to the Steelers, and then this week was 28. So that's after we gave up 30 and 40 weeks before that.
True.
So our defense is still bad, but they're showing heart and they're showing grit. I'd love to see Sean Lee out there, at least to be a coach out there. But I still think we win. I don't want to. I'll be rooting for that L, but it's the Washington.
I'm going 17-13 football team.
All right.
On Thanksgiving. Either way, I'll be happy. I'll have my Thanksgiving plate and watch some Cowboys.
That's what sucks for me is I bet we're going to have to watch that fucking game at these people's house.
Not if you claim diarrhea and you leave and you come to my house.
I do not want to go to their fucking house.
Claim COVID. Be like, we got exposed.
Yeah.
Got to stay home.
I don't care. I'll tell them I just don't like y'all. It's not that I don't like them, but it's like they're not even my family. I'm not thankful for them. I haven't seen them in like a year. Why the fuck am I going to go over there? It's the dumbest thing.
Well,
we've already been like protesting it, so we've already put it out there that maybe we'll just.
Well, if you do come to the house, and that's a nice segue because we're going to wrap it up here, and I just want
to know what I'm watching or listening to?
Oh, dude, we have been out of the game too long.
Well, I got to at least suggest a show I watched.
Okay, go for it.
It's called Wayne. It's on Amazon.
Why have I heard of that?
It's really good, man. Apparently, it was released last year. I think it was a YouTube show. Because I looked it up because I was telling Claire about it, and it showed.
It was. Yeah, that's
so
where I hear.
YouTube original or whatever. But now I guess the rights were purchased by Amazon, so it's on there, and it's like 10, about 30 minutes each. So 10 30-minute episodes. It's from the creators of Deadpool. And I looked it up just because I'm a nerd when I do this stuff. It got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's really good. It's basically, I put on here, it's like a 21st century Boston Bonnie and Clyde. Because Wayne, he's like this kid. He's misunderstood. Everyone thinks he's weird, but he's just like, at his core, he just thinks he's like Robin Hood. He's like everyone who does something wrong should pay a price, and everyone should do the right thing. But he's a fucking maniac. He'll just like get his ass kicked just to prove a point. Just to sum it up real quick, his dad is dying. And his dad, he's looking at these pictures, and his dad's like, this was my car. I got nothing to leave you, but this was my Trans Am back in the day. He's like, this should have been yours. And he's like, well, where is it now? He's like, your mom took it when she left because the dad got sick, and the mom just split on him. A piece of shit move. They took the car and her boyfriend. They moved down to Florida. So Wayne's on like a journey now. He's got to get the car back. He meets this girl before he leaves. I think it's in Brockton, which has to be near Boston because it's very fucking Boston-y,
Yeah.
Like that attitude. It's like you just have that Boston attitude where everyone's like talking shit and fighting. But his goal is to now just get to this girl, and so it's like a journey. They take this road trip on his little bike. It's like a motorcycle, and they have to get all the way from Boston or Massachusetts to Florida, and it's like a road trip. And along the way, all this stuff goes on. But dude, I couldn't recommend it enough. I put on here is my favorite, most enjoyable thing I've seen of 2020. Like, I just think it was great. And maybe some people won't like it, but it was just so fucking fun. It's one of those shows where like I busted out like the first 4 episodes in one night, and then I finished it up like a few days later. I just ran through it so fast, so couldn't recommend it enough. I told Paul to watch it. He never followed up on me. You asshole. I don't know if you watched it yet, but it was the most enjoyable thing and my favorite show of the year so far. And then I listened to Bundyville, which I told you about, which is
I listened to it too.
The ranchers in Nevada. Their last name was Bundy. They had their cattle that was, they had public land that you could have grazing rights on. So the cattle could graze that land, but you'd have to pay a fee. Well, they refused to pay the fee. They racked up $1 million in fees. So then the BLM, the Bureau of Land Management, was like going to come and take their cattle. And they kind of went to arms and was like, you're not going to come and take this. And they created a movement of like just militia, right-wing extremists, just people who were anti-government, like this perfect storm, and they all came. There was a huge standoff, you know, like, and the government basically backed down because they were in fear of like another Waco or Ruby Ridge, where you know they're not trying to kill these people, even though these people are acting, you know, pretty wild right now, but you know. And then there was a season 2, which season 2 to me was even better because it follows up on the Bundyville situation was resolved at that cattle ranch, but now it's like the movement they created, and this is like a follow-up, like all these people that were associated with them and what they're doing now, and it's just scary, dude, because these people are just...
I listened to it in a day. Like, wild. I finished it in a day.
It was very bingeable, right?
It was good.
And I don't know if I described it good enough because it's very interesting, but it's also very terrifying because these people, what they preach and what they believe in, like, to me, they're fucking maniacs. Those are domestic terrorists in a way. Like, the shit they say, where it's like, yeah, they're so anti-government, which everybody can be a little anti-government, but when you're like, hey, I'm going to take this pipe bomb and I'm going to blow up this building that's a government building, it's like, okay, now you're getting into like some McVeigh territory, and, you know, it just escalates quickly, and it talks about the people associated with that movement, and, I mean, they're trying to run for, like, public office and shit, and just some characters, but it's scary, so... Watched Wayne and listened to Bundyville. I enjoyed them both this week, and since we've been gone so long, I could have went over a lot, so I just really condensed it as what was my favorite show that I watched and what was my favorite podcast that I listened to recently, and that was it for me.
Okay, my podcast, and I shared it with you, and you listened to it. It was called Tom Brown's Body.
Yep.
It was put out by Texas Monthly. It was a case up in Canadian Texas, which is in the Panhandle, and it was 17, 18-year-old kid, senior football player, class president, you know, all-American kid, you know? Like from a small town.
For your kid to do.
Goes missing, and it just covers the case, and had interesting characters, and there's plenty of plot twists and whodunits, and it's still unsolved.
It's like the ultimate whodunit, because that town was like 3,000 people.
Yeah,
it's one of those towns where like everyone talks to everybody. So when the kid goes missing, and then it was just weird because they went missing. Wasn't it Thanksgiving Eve?
And then
it's like months later they find like his phone, and his phone's like in pristine condition. Like someone dropped it. They're like, it mowed it before, it rained before, and it looks like this thing came out of the case. And then like months later they find his backpack. And then,
propped up against a tree.
Yeah,
like,
it's just all these weird
not weather beaten.
And then the way they found his body I thought was weird too, because they were like, there was this officer, right? And he sees a deer. And he follows this deer because then they shed their antlers. He picks them up. So it's just weird that this cop's watching this deer, and he decides that he's going to follow it. And he follows it in this trail into the brush, and then he stumbles upon this body. Like, I thought that was a weird.
There's a lot of fishy stuff going on.
And you got to end if you don't listen to it or don't, like, the police department, the sheriff's department was kind of suspect the whole time. Like, they never really cleared, like, the sheriff and his deputies. Like, they were all... I'm not saying they were guilty, but I'm saying they were a person of interest. So the fact that they found the body the way they did, I just thought that was shady.
And then, you know, there's a private investigator that's introduced that the family hires, and he's a character in himself.
He is a character.
It was just a really good... It was a Texas podcast, so anything Texas, I'm all over. It was put out by Texas Monthly, so the production value was there.
Very in-depth. Like, you can tell they did a great job interviewing and getting archival.
And it's not done yet, because there is a grand jury that's going to be convened early in 2021.
That was
so.
The only thing I didn't like about it, which, I mean, when you listen to podcasts, some of these are just cold cases, is there was no resolution. But other than that, because some people want to just know, like, if I'm going to invest all this time, I need an answer. I understand you're not always going to get that, but that was my only complaint, is there was no definitive answer, but...
It's not done yet.
Yeah, it's not done. We still got stuff to do. There's still stuff being found out, and sometimes you just got to wait to find the truth out, you know?
It was just very good. I mean, going from his friend that was at Oklahoma State and how she was interrogated and that whole process, and then the thing about, I don't want to give it away, but the certain thing that they claim that he wore, that Tom Brown wore, you know, that was
truly shocking and surprising when they said that.
And was it true, or was that something that the sheriff planted? I think it was true,
you know, because even the mom was like kind of corroborate. She was like, "It's been a while since he's done anything like that," but she was like, "He would do that."
Yeah, but no, it's very good. It's called Tom Brown's Body. You can get on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen. Anywhere you listen to the Dad Lab podcast, you can listen to that one as well.
Yep.
And then Oh man, I can't believe I'm doing this, but I told Lauren to do it. I'm taking L's on this podcast left and right, but I've been binge watching. I can't get enough of it. I've been watching Married at First Sight. Dude,
this is multiple episodes you brought this up.
This show, dude, there's so much drama. There's so much ridiculous shit. And going back to being thankful for being married to who you're married to.
And knowing you have like a nice, sane woman. Because there's
some of these people are fucking crazy.
And it's both ways. I'm not just saying women.
No,
like, there's
the dudes. Some dudes
that are straight up. So that's why I'm lucky, you're lucky, and these women are lucky.
I wish you would maybe watch a season or two because, dude, there's so much drama. Like, it just really makes you take stock of what you got and be thankful.
And people like to watch drama as long as it's not their drama.
Exactly.
You know, like I can watch someone's drama and be like, because I'm like, oh, save your drama for your mama. No, if it's not mine, I want to know all about that shit.
Yeah, no, it's good. I'm on season 7.
You started with 1? I
started with 1.
Oh my god.
And they're in Dallas this season.
Ooh.
So, and this season has probably been the most controversial one of all. One couple, they go to board the plane to get on the plane for their honeymoon, and the woman is detained, and she's not allowed to get on the plane.
What the hell she do?
Turns out she has a warrant out for arrest, and she has for 3 counts of stalking.
No, and the guy probably didn't know anything about this.
Well, what's crazy is like they do.
He married that bitch?
Well, they were already married. They married at first sight.
But it's like a trial run, right?
Well, they do it for 8 weeks, and then at the end of 8 weeks, they get to decide.
I married a second.
Well, get this. So, in the process, when they're doing the selection process, the company or the network, they do background checks on these people, obviously, so they're not matching people up with like psychos or whatever.
Yeah, what happened there?
So what happened was when they did the background check, it was clean, and when they got a copy of the warrant and they got a copy of like the affidavit, and it was filed the day after they did their background, dude. So they missed their honeymoon.
She slipped through the cracks.
Yeah, dude, and so she's like, no, I don't even know this guy. It was a case of mistaken identity, like. I got in a car accident and my ID was in there, and so even the cop said it was mistaken identity. It was identity theft. Well, turns out like a day later or like a week later, she can't take it anymore, and she like tells the guy like, yeah, like I did date this guy and this and happened. So it's not
just
a drama.
Good way to start a relationship,
a marriage, not just a relationship.
Yeah, an even worse way to start a marriage.
But no, it's drama, and I can't believe I'm watching it. But I
can't believe you're on season 7. It's not like you just slipped up and watched 2 episodes.
Nope, I'm fully invested, dude.
You're on season 7.
I'm fully invested, dude.
Yeah.
So make fun of me if you want. I'm invested.
I think Lauren's gonna make fun of you more than anybody.
She does. She does.
Like, I'm gonna go. She
emasculates me in my own house. But no, really watching that show makes me.
I just picture all snuggled up, like making some popcorn. And
no, she doesn't watch it with me. She's like, no, I'm going in here and watching something else.
She's watching the UFC fight.
No, she watches this chick on YouTube. She does, I forget what it's called. It's called like Makeup and Murder, but like she tells like true crime stories like while she's doing makeup.
I can see women loving that.
And she's like, Matt, have you heard it? I'm like, yeah, I heard of all these cases because I listened to podcasts about them.
Because look at this beautiful foundation I have. Look at this eyeliner.
Yes, I've known about her for years.
Of course.
No, but and the theme of the episode was a little bit of Thanksgiving thrown in there, and me watching Married at First Sight, being thankful for my wife. Before I wrap up, I just want to leave all you guys with a message of take this week, take Thanksgiving to take stock of what you got. Be thankful for it. Be thankful for the people in your life. Be thankful for the things you have. Be thankful for the people you have. Me especially, I get bogged down in what I don't have or what I'm not doing or what I didn't do instead of just looking around and being thankful for what I do have. I'm thankful for Andrew. Thankful for my wife, my family. I'm thankful for, job. I get to bring some money in. So this week, I ask you just take stock of what you got. Be thankful. Everybody have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Watch Jerry Maguire if you want to be involved on the next one. But I think that does it. So for Matt
and Andrew,
we're out.